Name, age, and pronouns, please.
My name is Tim. I'm 21, and he.
Cool. And in case anybody ever wants to argue, you're talking to me. Why can't you just use my name? I was literally talking to you, talking about you to Trevor. So it is helpful to be able to know somebody's pronouns. I had to keep using gender neutral pronouns because I didn't know whether you were a he or a she.
Yeah, I get that. So,
Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't accusing you of not understanding that. I just do hear that on debate content sometimes. People are like, why would you need to know my pronouns? I'm like, it's literally helpful. Like,
well, I think the point is with them, they're like already hear the
oh my
voice.
god,
It's like an insult to them. It's like saying to them, you sound like
we just lost
so
OBS connection, by the
in the
way. So
middle
we're not
between.
being streamed at the moment.
Really?
Yeah. OBS is reconnecting. It'll take us a minute, but I mean, we can shoot the
Oh,
shit
it
for
went to
just a second.
black and then back again. Like I can see you now. So
Oh, on Twitch. Oh, right. But
yeah, yeah,
last night I learned I need to close my chat and reopen my chat. So give me just a second here.
yeah.
Maddie, can you hear us? Okay, and what was the subject that you particularly wanted to debate on? Was it a formulation in the debate topic slides, or did you have your own way to
Yeah,
formulate it that you wanted to bring up?
it said you believe in gender, it said.
Okay,
So
yeah.
it's telling me that I believe in it.
That's the only debate content I have on my YouTube channel so far. I've got a 3 minute short,
Yeah.
and it's the only one up there.
By the way, just to start about the he him thing, right? The reason why people don't like it, it's like if you're just chatting in a text channel or something, then sure you can ask that, right? But if it's in a voice call, asking it is like the equivalent of going up to some black guy and asking him, "Are you black?" It's like that. You can see he is. It's the same with the voice call. You can hear it's a man. There's no way there's a woman
That's
with like a male
literally not
voice, right?
true, my guy. Like there are women with deep voices. There are people even you would consider women with deep voices. It is literally not possible to know anything about their sex or gender based on their voice.
Oh, come on.
It is it
Maybe
is
there's weird exceptions where there's
no
like
no no
one
no no
guy
no
where
no.
you can't tell.
Tim, I'm not trying to make any arguments about what is typical. I could make an assumption and say typically somebody with this deep of a voice would be a man, um, and I would most likely be right in the vast majority of cases. But in the slim margin that I would be talking to a woman with a deep voice, I would rather not be disrespectful, and I would like to ask up front.
I
That way, I
mean,
don't have to. I'm not
I've
calling to
never.
attention the fact that their voice sounds the way a man's voice would sound, and that way I'm just being like, no, you sound like a woman because that's what you are. It's just respectful.
Sure, I would say it's not only the pitch. There's more to the voice to recognize than the pitch, right? But either way, like
I think any
that's
example
such
you
a
could come
rare
up with, you would
thing.
find that there are women that sound like that.
That's such a rare thing. It's like the equivalent of, well, there's albinos. Maybe the white guy is black. He's just an albino. Who knows? So let's ask every white guy whether he's black, because maybe he's just a black man with albinism, right?
Right, and
It's like that kind of stuff. You don't have to
something
ask every time for the exceptions. They can deal with it. That's their problem, I guess.
they can deal with it, and I can also be respectful. That's it.
Right, but
Like that's the
it's a
whole of the
bit, a
thing, my
bit
guy.
over the top. Like,
Like
do you ask for race too,
no,
or like,
because we don't have denoters in our speech where we say different things to people based on what their race is, or at
well,
least I
let's say
don't.
you have a certain political discussion that has to do with race and stuff, like police violence or something. Will you ask like every time you see some guy in your panel? Let's say he has his camera on. You can see he's white. Will you ask every time, "Are you a black guy with albinism by any chance?" So I can
I mean,
take care of that.
if we're having a conversation about race, I might ask what race they are because them having pale skin doesn't tell me what their race is.
Wouldn't you assume that they're white if they look white? And then
I
like
I
the
mean, I can
exception.
I can assume
Yeah.
things. I can also recognize that I can be wrong in my assumptions, and I would rather not make an assumption. I would rather just ask the person.
Sure, but I think such exceptions, it's rare, and when it happens, they can just say, "Oh, by the way, I have albinism." I don't like
I can already see
that's
a
the
pattern in our
problem people
conversation
have
here,
with,
Tim. And I just want to make
yeah,
sure that you understand that when we talk about these things, I'm not making any claims about changing what is typical. That is not something that I am
yeah,
up here to
sure,
do. I am not trying to embrace greater things to the understanding of the typical. I am just looking to be respectful to people who are members of classes that are atypical and not treating them like they are not members of that class because they aren't the vanilla version. That's it.
sure, man. I'm pretty chill. I don't get annoyed easily, but there's like people who get pissed because they're just kind of tired of every time they join. Like, what's your pronoun? What's your pronoun? Like that, they get pissed.
Did those people get
Well,
upset when they're asked what their name is?
Well, no, because that's like a more usual thing, right? But this is a more
Referencing people
like
by pronouns is a daily, like,
yes,
it occurs
but
in probably every conversation you
having to
have.
ask isn't. Like 99% of the world doesn't ask that ever. They
Yeah,
just like
if
they
you
look at
don't,
you or use your voice, and if they're wrong, then you can tell them, and that's you have to deal with that.
yeah,
That's how most people function, you know.
sorry, I need to get used to the idea of not looking at chat and responding to chat when I've actually got somebody voice to voice. I don't often have people voice to voice, so this is fantastic. Thank you for coming up on voice chat. For some reason, a lot of people are shy about coming up on voice chat, and I say for some reason, especially with me, because I'm just an extremely friendly person. I'm not going to be like hounding you, and I'm not going to be rude. Um, so you say it's not common in most places, but then again, I'm just going to come back to saying, sure, that level of respect isn't common. That doesn't mean that I don't think it's appropriate to be respectful. And so I would like to know, like I would like to know someone's name so I don't call them the wrong name. And when sometimes I ask people to repeat their name in case I forgot it, it's the same thing to me as asking what their pronouns are. If I'm going to refer to this aspect of who you are in speech, I want to make you feel welcomed by me. I want you to make you feel considered by me. So I want to know these details about you so that I get them correct and
Yeah.
I show you that I am interested in who you are as a person.
And another thing, by the way, most people, the fact that you literally say, "What is your pronoun?" instead of just saying, "Are you a man or woman?" and like that's already to most people will think, "I don't believe in that," right? Like I don't think most people don't think there's a separation there, so they see you as like a weird person for asking that in that specific way, right?
Well, I hope that we can change that because asking what you prefer to be called, like that is literally the same thing as like a name. It works the same way.
Well,
What do you
most people don't
prefer to
see
be
it that
called?
way, right? It's the same thing, in my opinion. It's the same thing as I don't ask you, do you prefer to be called beautiful or ugly either. I just say what I think is the case, right?
Well,
That's how I
except those things already
look at
have
it.
value built into them. So of course the person would prefer to be called by the thing that they perceive to have value. He and she are not
That's
intended to be things that have
I'll
value built
use
into
a
them.
fine. I'll use a different example. That wasn't the point.
Okay?
Black or white, fucking ginger or blonde, whatever, right? Like to me, those things are the same thing as he or she. He just means like third person male, and she just means third person female, right?
Like,
So
do you
most
like
people,
sports?
yeah, yeah, sure,
You do?
yeah, like watching or playing.
Watching, like following teams.
Yeah, I sometimes watch football, but I like the gym. Yeah,
do you have a team you like?
you know Ajax.
I'm sorry.
You know Ajax.
I don't
You
know
know this.
Ajax.
It's
See, and
the
when you
Netherlands.
say football,
Yeah.
my mind immediately jumps to like uh
Oh, no,
yeah,
no. I mean
right.
like the white ball with the black
American football.
dots, that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Association rules football. A soccer.
But the point is, right? Most people don't think in terms of this sex and gender separation, right? So when they hear you say pronouns
Sure.
instead of just man or woman, the first thing that they think is snowflake, right? That's the first thing that comes in their mind, right?
Well,
Like that you instantly
I
give away
hope to
your cards,
change
basically.
I hope to change people's minds on that so that people see
Yeah.
it not as this person is a snowflake and more as this person just seeks to be respectful to other people because that's
Let's get into
literally
that,
all it
right?
is.
I had a conversation with Maddie, right? Like I
Hmm.
asked, what does woman mean according to you? So
Well,
she asked, well, what is
well,
it
how about
according
we
to you?
confine our conversation to you and me because I didn't follow that and I don't think we should just recap the
Okay,
whole
okay.
conversation.
I want to ask you the same question basically. So what do you think? What do you think woman means? If it doesn't mean adult human female, then what is it?
Then what is a woman? A woman would be a person who identifies with their own personal schema on the sociocultural aspects that are historically aligned with the female sex.
Okay, so there can't be a masculine woman then, right? Like there
There
can't be a
definite
woman that doesn't align with that,
there definitely
according to that
can
definition.
there definitely can be a
Okay.
masculine woman.
Okay, so
Um,
that then it doesn't have to align with the social and cultural associations of women, right?
well, no, if I believed that they were forced to align, then I wouldn't believe that gender and sex would be disjointed concepts. I could still believe they're separate concepts, but I believe that trans people exist so they can be misaligned, not misaligned, but
No,
not
no, that's not
not
what I
aligned.
mean. I mean, what if you have a transgender woman that's masculine? Then what?
A transgender woman who is
That's
masculine.
masculine. Yeah.
Well, so you're introducing some complicated structure here. So transgender woman who is masculine, that would be first we have to look at biology. So you are saying that this person
Yeah, it's a
is
male
male.
that says they're
Okay.
a woman, but they're still masculine. They want to be a tomboy, basically,
Now hold on, hold on,
but
hold
they're
on.
male.
We're gonna address all the layers. So first we're gonna say that they are male. So that means they either have an XY chromosome pairing, or they have an XX chromosome pairing that has an active SRY gene, or they have an some karyotyping, but they also have a predominant male representation when it comes to other features we measure, such as gonads or genitals or hormone levels. Um, they fall somewhere under the one of the two large curves on the bimodal distribution chart that would say this person falls under the male category. We're at least together on those terms, right? It's not an on or off
Sure,
switch. It
yeah,
is a
male.
person that
Yeah,
has just a certain number of characteristics that would make them fall under the category.
sure, yeah, fine.
Okay. So now they're male. This person also has a personal schema on what sociocultural aspects align with the people they are told men are or what women are. And an interesting thought that I had recently that I realized that we all go through this as kids. As kids at your youngest age, you don't know about karyotyping. You don't know about internal genitalia. You don't know about hormones. You don't know about all this shit. Um, but you still learn what men and women are. And so as
Mm.
a kid, you are having to create social groups in your head. You're going, these people are men, these people are women. I remember being incredibly confused in second grade when a person that I knew was a girl had very short hair. And I was like, this does not fit the schema. I am confused. I thought this person was a girl. Why do they have short hair? That is how simplified a kid's mind is when it comes to gender groups. So they are organizing this. They are being taught this. They are asking questions.
Yeah,
They go, I know what a woman is. It's a person with long hair that takes care of children, that does this. Like all these roles are what a woman does. And then as soon as they see something that's confusing, they go, "Hey mom, hey dad, I thought this person is a woman. They have these characteristics that I would consider to be a woman, but they have this one thing that makes it confusing. What are they?" And so every time this happens, the adults have to step in and readjust the kids' understanding of who falls into this category. And that the kid is developing this giant framework without having any biological concept.
Yeah,
So
so
it
you're
is,
saying that framework is what decides what you are, and not the biology.
well, hold on. That decides what gender you are, because gender is solely focused on those sociocultural aspects.
Okay, so what if you have someone who is a female and calls themselves a woman, but they're masculine in every way imaginable. They have short hair, they're a lesbian, they're whatever, they like chopping down trees and going to the gym, yeah?
Well, hold on. Let's get to this
Now what?
question. Let's get to this question. I think you might be still asking the same question, but I definitely want to address the question as you put it earlier. You
Yeah,
said
yeah,
you
sure.
said they are this sex, they are this gender, like they are a
A
trans woman.
masculine
They're a trans
transgender
woman who
woman,
is
yeah.
masculine. So we have in this case, we have a male who to them they created these social distinctions as they grew up, as their mind developed. They saw this group of people and saw them as women, and they were like, that is the group that is me. I understand this group. That is the group I fall into. So I am a woman as I understand this group to be categorized. Now, as we grow up, we're going to introduce the complications of, well, where does biology fall into that? But most kids, by the time they're four, already have an idea of what gender they are.
Yeah, yeah, I get it,
So,
yeah.
so we've got their gender, we've got their sex, and now they're sitting here going, okay, there are these factors that I have determined from my experience are fundamental to womanhood. Is A, B, and C. Those are
Which is,
fundamental. Huh?
yeah, what do you think that is?
Oh, it doesn't matter what I think it is. It's their schema because every person's is going to be different.
Right, so what if
Every
they
single
say
person.
that in every way they fall into the masculine category? They're a really masculine woman.
Oh, hold
Now
on, hold
what?
on. I'm explaining that. I'm explaining that. So
Yeah,
they have
okay.
A, B, and C. I have these core fundamental aspects of womanhood that makes me a woman. But on D through Z, I would say that I fall in the man camp on all of those societal features. All those things that most
Hmm.
people group with men, that's me. But I'm still A, B, and C, and those are the fundamental things. So I would still say I'm a woman, but I am also masculine in many, many ways. So it is in that way that a person can be both masculine and a trans woman.
Wouldn't calling them masculine imply that like the majority of their features like outweigh on the masculine side?
I mean, if someone calls them masculine, that is going to be based on their
Now,
own
what if
schema.
they call themselves masculine?
If they call themselves masculine, what's the question?
Yeah, wouldn't that imply that it doesn't make sense for them to also be a woman?
No, because
But they fall into the man group on the majority of things, right? Like,
the majority doesn't necessarily imply significance. They think there are core aspects of womanhood and they align with those. It is all these minute things that they don't consider very important that they align with on the masculine side, and they say, so I'm masculine in all these ways, but in the most important ways I am a woman.
yeah,
So
maybe
that's what
it's
makes a
easier if I
masculine
just
woman.
ask you for your personal view. Maybe that's easier. Because when I
My
hear
per-
masculine and feminine, I just think like they behave that way, and that's completely separate from man or woman. Like in my opinion, you can have a woman that's really masculine with hair and shit, and that's still a woman, right? Like, so what do you think? Like,
what do I
what's
consider to
these?
be masculine and feminine traits?
I mean, what do you consider to mean woman instead of feminine? Like
So you're
which are
asking
the
me
woman
to
traits and which
define.
are the feminine traits? Yeah,
So you're asking for my schemas on men and women?
yeah. Which one makes you a woman instead of just feminine?
Well, when it comes to schemas, like I feel like there are two different questions here, and I want to make sure I understand which question you're asking. You could be asking Austin, Know Nothing Attorney, what what are your schemas on men and women? And I don't really see how that's pertinent. The other question is, shit. Now I've lost what that other question could be. Um, Goddamn, ADHD
Yeah,
sucks,
I'm
man.
saying if you see someone, right, and you
Uh-huh.
call them a woman, which
Mm-hmm.
traits are you pointing out by calling them a woman rather than calling them
I
feminine?
know, I know, I know. The other question you could be asking is how, like, what factors are we as a society supposed to use to determine whether they are men or women,
Well,
right?
I mean like you, right? Look, you,
What
because
do I
that's
use?
something I can actually ask you. Because with the other thing you say, like, oh, you have to ask them. That's it's yeah.
So what I use would be the on a level of respect because each of us has our own schema. So I can't say that my schema is correct, and I can't say that another person's schema is correct, and there is no objective schema on which sociocultural aspects are supposed to be masculine and which are supposed to be
Okay, but
feminine.
what do you think though? Like
I know, I
what's
know, I know,
your
I know. I'm getting
yeah
there. I'm getting there. I'm
your
answering
thing?
the question. And so what I use as the basis is because schemas are personal, I rely on what the person identifies as. And the reason for that, I can get to that. The reason for that is because as part of your schema on men and women, always one of the one of the traits that is always in those groups is that they identify as that. So a person who identifies
Okay.
as a woman is going to include in their definition of womanhood identification as a woman as a sociocultural aspect. They can include
Right,
a
but
million other
that would be
things.
circular, right? Like
No, it wouldn't be
you're a woman
circular.
because you identify as such.
That's
It's
not
like
what circular
saying
is.
it's like if I ask you what's a dog? It's something that's a dog. It's like so someone is
No,
a
no, no,
woman
no,
because they identify as a woman, but
no, no,
what they're identifying as
no.
means
That's
nothing
not it.
outside of
You're
that
still not
paradigm.
on it. You could let me
Okay, what is
explain
it? Yeah, yeah.
because I didn't rely on that in my definition, if you recall.
Well,
My
what do
definition
you?
said if a person their schema on their gender aligns with their personal schema on the female sex, that would be a woman. The sociocultural aspects historically related with the female sex, that would be a woman. The thing is this doesn't make it circular. It is just an aspect of identity. One of the things that all of those people have in common, and it may not even be the only thing, it's the only thing we can know for sure. The thing that they all have in common is one particular sociocultural trait, that being identification as a woman. So that's just the one thing that we can point to in every single case. That doesn't mean it's the one thing that makes them a woman.
Well, yeah, the schema thing is basically you're basically just saying you can make up your own definition, right? Like that's essentially what you're saying.
You can't make up your own definition because we as a society know what sociocultural aspects are historically related with the female and male sexes.
Well, I guess you can make your own definition that only applies to yourself, I guess. Like that's
Well,
what you're
yeah,
saying.
every single person
Yeah,
has their
okay.
own gender. Like the majority of genders just fall under two larger umbrellas that are men and women. But every person's gender is going to be entirely different than someone else's
Right,
because
but
your sociocultural aspects
you're
that you line up with men and women are going to be different than everyone else's. And you can't have a true Scotsman when it comes to this is what a man does, this is what a woman does. No one can do that. But that doesn't make
yeah,
it
so
not
you're not
real.
really defining it. You're just saying like they can do it, like that they can do whatever they want. They can define whatever they want for themselves,
I'm
I guess.
defining it. The issue is that it's part of identity, it's part of human identity. And so I
So,
can't decide that for someone else. That doesn't mean it doesn't have a definition and that it doesn't matter and that it doesn't exist. Those are all still true things.
right. Another question for you, yeah. Why does this only apply to this and not to like every other concept, like species or race and all of that stuff?
Because what is a species?
Well, gender used to mean a biological thing, but they changed it. So the point is like
It
with
doesn't matter what it
species,
used to mean
why?
at all. What it used to mean doesn't
So
matter.
why can't we do the same thing with everything else? Is my question.
Because we can point to this as like there are studies on this that show that this is a thing that people experience. This is a real thing commonly among human beings that we all experience. We all have like relationships with gender. You could
Well,
make
we
up.
all have relationships with, like the thing you described about you being confused about some woman with short hair. Like it's
Yeah.
in my opinion, that's the equivalent of me being confused about a horse with black stripes painted on its fur and thinking it's a zebra. Like that's the essentially the same thing in my opinion. Like you can have
Wait,
animals
hold
and you
on.
can confuse the animals
You're
because
saying that you could be confused that a horse that's painted with black stripes is a zebra? That might confuse you?
yeah, or maybe some animal just
Okay,
happens to
so
look
now
a
I
bit
have
like
to
another
ask you,
species or
what is
whatever.
a zebra?
Well, it's a certain species. Like I can get into the species. Let's see,
And then
zebra species name.
a member of
What
the an organism that
family?
is a member of the species blank, right?
Yeah, taxonomy. Yeah, we're gonna get into like the family trees of animals and stuff, but whatever. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
you get
So
the point. Yeah.
what you have just proven is that I can be confused about a horse being painted with black stripes and think that it might be a zebra. But
Yeah, so does that now mean the same thing with gender,
can
that
I now do
species is a
research? Let me
social
ask my
construct?
question there, Tim. Let me ask my
Okay.
question. Can I now can I now do research on this horse that is painted with black stripes and determine whether it is an organism that belongs to the species, whatever the species name for zebra is? Can I determine that?
Well, if you define species as biological, then yes. But if you define it
Yeah,
as this social
exactly.
thing, like it's a zebra because I see it as a zebra, then no. Then you can just like you can make this
Well,
same
here's the fun
argument
thing,
like
Tim.
you have a stuffed animal that's a zebra and we call it a zebra, but it's really not a zebra because it's a stuffed animal. So if we can call that a zebra, why can't a dog identify as a zebra and that you can
The
go
fun
that
thing is that you
direction,
just
right?
admitted that gender exists.
Well, no,
Because
I'm showing you that you can have the same
you don't
like
think you did, but you
semantic
just
stuff.
did.
Like,
Because now I can demonstrate, okay,
by the way, wait a second.
is this creature a thing that socioculturally I would imagine may be a zebra? And do I want to give that a name? I could call that a different name. I could maybe call that a trans zebra. Great.
Or
This
you
is
could
a
call it. It just looks like a zebra, but it isn't.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
it can't be.
We can say this thing is a thing that looks like it could be a zebra. We'll call it that. A thing that looks like it could
Okay.
be a zebra.
Yep.
Great. But now we can call it that. We have a term for it. It has a word. Hey, let's call it a brick. This is a brick. This thing is a brick, which is a thing that looks like it could be a zebra, and then I can do research on it and determine that it is also a horse. Now it's a brick and a horse. It doesn't mean it's just a horse and not a brick. It's also a brick. Amazing how
Okay,
that
but
works.
first of all, that's not really the equivalent of the transgender stuff, right? Like it's not like I think it looks like a woman. It's that that person basically obligates me to say it's a woman. But
No, I tried
maybe
to
I
follow
don't
your
think it
example
looks
and
like a
came up
woman
with a
at
way
all,
that you
right?
could
Like
socioculturally claim that it could be a zebra despite it not biologically being a
yeah,
zebra.
it just looks like one, right? Like, that's the point. It's a stuffed animal zebra.
Right.
It's that
So
it's
you tried
not
to
really
draw a
though. That's the
sociocultural
point.
line and a biological line. And by doing that, you
Uh-huh.
proved that nothing about the biological claim changed at all. But we also came up with a new word that meant a thing that we could point to outside the bounds of biology. Congratulations, you just proved that gender exists.
Yeah, I don't think that's the same thing at all. It just represents a zebra. It's like a painting, right? I don't think if you look at the painting and there's a woman on the painting, then
Hmm.
oh look, that's a woman. I don't think that that's what you mean when you say gender. I don't think you mean that the
Well,
painting
that's
has
a
the
fun
gender of
one. How
woman
do you
if
know the
there's a
thing in
woman
the
on the
painting is
painting
a woman? That's
because it
curious.
represents one, right?
How do you know
It's
what it
what the artist
represents?
is trying to. It's what the artist tries to portray, right? That's the
How
point.
do you know what the artist is trying to represent? Isn't that the problem with art?
Well, yeah, sure. You
Isn't it
could
just
say
your
maybe
perception of what a
it's
woman looks
supposed
like,
to.
that so you perceive what a person is depicted as a woman? It could be as abstract
Yeah,
as
yeah.
possible, but you think, well, there are these certain culture, these aspects that I think a woman is. I can't test this thing. It doesn't have a
Yeah,
karyotype.
it,
It
it could
doesn't
be
have
the
genitals. It doesn't have hormones. But there are certain things that I
look, man.
associate with being a
It
woman
could
that
be.
I can look at this painting and determine that's what a woman is, and you could be wrong.
Yeah, it could be the wolf from Little Red Riding Hood in the grandma's clothing, or it could be a robot. But that's the same thing for literally everything. That's not like unique to woman and man. You can have
Right, but
a
you
rock
would
that has
you
a
would
guy inside of it,
recognize a
so it looks like a
representation of a
rock.
woman with no biological aspects at all.
Yeah, just like how I can tell the representation of a dog with no biological aspects at all. That doesn't mean that the painting is actually a dog, or that now like dog is this like fluent identity and we can identify as dogs if we look like them and wear
No,
suits and
because
stuff.
dogs
That's
have
insane.
qualities that we recognize that dogs must have, and we can see that depicted as a dog. You may also be wrong that it's a dog in the painting. They could have
Uh-huh.
there could be another thing inside it puppeting its arms, and you just wouldn't
So
know
why
that.
is there not a different why is the conclusion not the same thing that you do with women? Like why isn't now dog a social category? Because I can mistakenly think a painting of a cat is a dog or something.
Because when people make a claim about gender, they aren't making a biology claim.
Okay, so why can't we say that I can be socially a dog and not biologically? So I'm
But
socially a dog now.
what does socially being a dog mean?
Oh, apparently it means whatever I want it to be, whatever my schema likes from the dog traits to
So
be a
you would
dog.
say whatever sociocultural aspects a dog has?
Yeah, sure.
What are the sociocultural aspects of a dog?
Although there's a certain like behavior that's associated with the dog, like it's really attention bragging, it can be aggressive and bark and stuff like that kind of stuff.
Are things that aren't that
Dog
dogs?
behavior.
Are dogs that aren't like that not dogs?
No.
So if a dog does not seek attention, it's not a dog?
I define dog biologically, right? But
Right,
if you
yes.
make it into an identity and then dog is a dog because it acts like one, then you get into these weird problems, yeah.
No, there aren't any weird problems because nobody has changed what the biological claims are. Nobody's
Yeah, then
changing
it's
any
socially
biological
not a
claims.
dog, but it biologically is sure.
Okay, so no one would disagree with you about whether or not it's a dog.
Well, the issue here is what if I identify as a dog, but I don't act like one at all? Now what? Are you gonna tell me that I'm not? Basically, that's
No,
the
you're
question.
not, because a dog is a biological claim.
Right, I said socially a dog. I say I'm specifically socially a dog.
Great. So if you are socially a dog, if
Uh-huh.
that were ever socially helpful, if that ever mattered to society, then maybe that would be helpful. If there were tons of research saying, yes, people in the world, adults, naturally have some kind of sociological reference to animals. And we could then,
Yeah, they
if we
do.
knew what they identified as in terms of being an animal, we would have so much more knowledge. We could help these people with different aspects in their lives. Like they would not feel like dejected as human beings if we didn't recognize that aspect of themselves, which we have no evidence of in the case of identifying as animals. Then yeah, it would be helpful to recognize that category. If there's a thing that exists in human beings, we can put a name on it, identify it, and see how identifying it helps us. Incredible. Hey, Maddie,
Yeah, so
Maddie, amazing.
you now get into the whole attack helicopter stuff, right? Like, well,
What
what
is an
if his
attack helicopter?
sociological association is that of an attack helicopter, right?
What
Repeat.
is what would you mean if you said you identified as an attack helicopter?
Well, the same with woman. You can make it's whatever you want it to mean, basically.
No, I
That's
would
what you
say
said,
that if
right?
you
Your
identified as
schema
a
can
woman,
be
you are
whatever.
identifying with certain sociocultural aspects that you associate with the gender that is historically related to the female sex. That is a thing.
What if
That is a thing we
my
have identified. Those are characteristics that matter to people and their lives are impacted by it. Research shows that it actually causes specific patterns in
Okay,
the
what
human
if my
brain.
scheme doesn't align with yours at all? No,
What's that?
is that what if my scheme of what that means doesn't align with yours in any way at all?
It doesn't have to.
Is there like a okay, so it can be basically anything you want it to, right?
What? Huh?
Well, it doesn't have to line up, you say, so it can be basically anything, right? Like
Well,
the sky's the limit.
except it would still have to be related to the woman gender.
Yeah, but
Otherwise, it
there's
wouldn't
no.
be gender. It has
How
to
can you tell if it's
associate.
related if you can't tell me what it actually like where the limits are?
So
You say
if you
yeah,
said
okay.
I identify as a woman because I think that 2 sometimes equals 3, then I would be like,
Uh-huh.
what you have just identified isn't a gender characteristic. You have not related that back to women. You have not related it back to a historical association with the female sex.
Right. Okay, you
So
do
you
have
have
someone
identified something
like
that is outside the bounds of the conversation we're having. We could
so
talk
let's
about a
say
different sociocultural issue, but like that's not gender.
I like spinning in circles, and that's a social cultural association with a attack helicopter.
Okay, that's still not gender.
So can I be a trans attack helicopter now?
You can identify that. It's not very helpful to
Uh-huh.
society to to acknowledge that identification.
Does that matter?
Yeah, it does. Because I can't get any information about trans attack helicopters based on your experience with liking to spin in circles. There's a ton of data that we can get from people based on their experience being transgender.
Yeah, it's not a
It's
data
called
point, is it?
utility. It's how we
It's a
use
person,
words.
right?
Huh?
They're a person. They're not like a data per point for you to study, right? Like that's the.
They're a
I
person
don't see
that.
the
Are you
point there.
kidding? Is that a joke? Is that an honest
Yeah, you
belief you
don't
hold
have
that
to
people
study
should not
them,
be
right?
studied?
No, I'm just saying, like, I don't get the point where, like, you're not allowed to do this because I can't study you. It's not useful for me to study. It sounds
I'm
like
not
odd.
saying you can't identify as a trans attack helicopter. I just have no
So you
interest in
believe in
that.
that too, or?
I believe that people can identify as whatever the fuck they want to. That doesn't make it a helpful thing to society.
Right, so you do believe in trans attack helicopters. You just think it's a useless thing, essentially.
It depends on what I mean by identifying as it. I believe that people have the capacity to identify as whatever they fucking feel like at any given time, but society is not required to acknowledge that.
What, so what does that make them? Does that make them a trans whatever they identified as at the end? Like what?
That you would be like a trans object, you would be a thing that you
Yeah,
were
I
not,
guess.
that doesn't align socially with the thing that you were born as.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sure.
Right. So now you've just identified something useless, whereas on the other hand, we have a lot of data on transgender people and see
Yeah,
that.
why is that more useful?
Why is it more useful? Because a huge
Yeah.
number of people a huge number of people experience it. It is validated by psychiatric associations, by like developmental associations, people who study like developmental biology. It impacts how the brain works. We can see how the brain is impacted by having like a
Yeah, how does that
transgender
make it
identity.
useful though? Like everything you just said applies to like depression too.
Well,
I don't see how
anytime we
that's
can
useful
gather
because
data, like data that what am I looking for? Why can't I think of the freaking word? Correlation. Anytime we
so,
can find
so
correlative data for groups of people like that have something in common, that is, I would think that's inherently helpful because then we can start to understand, well, what are the aspects that cause all of these people that have this similar trait to have similar this correlative data in this aspect of their lives. We can save lives, for instance, because
well,
people, huh?
if the only utility in it is so you can study it to then, solve it, then it isn't really useful, is it?
I
It's
didn't
like
say
saying cancer
solve
is
it.
useful because then we can study cancer. Well, I don't get it.
Cancer? No, because we're not trying to solve it. We're trying to understand it. We're trying to resolve issues related to it. It's not a disease.
Right, so it causes issues, right? So it isn't useful at all. It
No,
just causes
it
problems.
can cause issues.
Right, so let's use another example. ADHD. It's like saying
Hmm.
ADHD is useful because then we can study ADHD and we can solve the issues related to ADHD. It's like a circular
Right,
thing.
but
You're saying it's useful because
ADHD
it can cause the problems that wouldn't be there if it wasn't there to begin with.
ADHD inherently, to be ADHD, has to cause a severe disruption in your day-to-day activities. In order to be
I mean, the
diagnosed with ADHD,
transgender
it
is the
has to
same, right?
be a disruption. Having a transgender identity does not itself cause problems.
They want whole surgeries and stuff. Isn't that
Not every trans person wants surgeries.
right? But they feel problematic, right? Like to get the diagnosis, they need to be uncomfortable, don't
There
they?
isn't a way
Yeah.
you can't diagnose being transgender. It's not
Isn't there a whole name for it?
it's not
Gender
a
identity disorder or some shit
it's
like
not a
that.
disorder.
Well, let me Google this. Uh, what's the name for it?
Yeah. I want you to find the DSM entry. I want you to find the DSM entry and I want you to read it.
Gender dysmorphia. There you
Yeah,
go.
find that DSM entry and then read it.
It's gender
I'll do it too.
dysmorphia. Let's see. Uh, that they're distressed with their gender identity.
Can I get the DSM page, please? DSM.
But
Okay.
still, like
No. We're
even
gonna resolve this situation. We're gonna resolve the issue that you brought
okay,
up.
bro.
This is a very common misconception, so we're not going to just roll right past it.
I mean, it's a bit of a semantic thing, isn't it? Like I can say I think it's problematic to be a
It's not a
transgender, and
semantic thing.
that's
It's
the
a
bad thing. There
diagnosis
you
thing.
go.
It's a diagnostic
I
tool.
mean,
You cannot
I
call a
would say
diagnostic tool a semantic issue.
I would say it is, right? Like it's dependent on what society deems good or bad, right? Like if the thing that you're being diagnosed for is
So you're
bad
just
and
going. You want to step away from science, is what you would like to do.
well, no, if you live in a
Oh no.
society where they think killing yourself is okay, then the DSM will remove the depression entry, Like that's how it works.
Well, that betrays a very poor understanding of what disorders are.
I mean, disorder is like something that's like to have this mental disorder needs to be bad, right? Like if you have a rare trait that's good, then you're not gonna get diagnosed with a disorder, are you?
Bad or good, there are not value judgments in these things.
So highly
Science
gifted is a
doesn't make
mental
value
disorder now
judgments.
because it's okay. So being highly gifted is because it's rare and an unusual mental thing. Now it's a mental disorder.
What? No, that's not how
If you
disorders
if
work.
but mental retardation is a mental disorder, right?
Right. What makes I mean,
So having really
is that
high,
still a term that's
unusual.
used medically? I'm not sure
Okay,
if it is.
what do you want to call it? Whatever. The name
Developmental
doesn't matter. You
disorder?
get okay. Developmental disorder.
Uh-huh.
That's a
What makes
mental
it a
disorder.
disorder?
But
I didn't think so, Maddie. I
having
don't like using that term.
okay, developmental disorder is a mental disorder, but having high IQ isn't. The only reason is because one is above average and the other one's below average. One
That
is good,
is
one is bad. That's
Nope.
why one is a
That's not how
disorder.
disorders are measured.
Okay, well, how is it measured?
A disorder is measured by the impact that the thing has on your day-to-day activities and whether it disrupts them.
Yeah, disrupting is like a moral thing, right? Like it's considered bad disruption, right?
Well, a
Like if it
disruption
has
has to
impact,
be
good impact.
self-reported. If a person does not experience, I don't know if it has to be. I'm sure there are some cases where things are so bad that a person can just see that they have a disruption in their experiences. But in many cases, it has to be self reported. Otherwise, no one will know that they are having their day to day activities disrupted.
Yeah, so that's societal, isn't it? Like, well, what they deem good or bad. Like, maybe someone has mental, developmental issues, right? They're below average IQ, and they don't care themselves because they're like, so
Are you
developmentally
saying there is
troubled
not a
that they're
way that we
just.
could literally measure the amount of disruption a person is experiencing in their day to day activities? We can't measure spikes in cortisol. We can't measure like blood pressure. Yep.
Let's say it like this. Let's say there's a guy and he's just like brain dead. Or like so stupid he's just brain dead essentially. He's just drooling all day, yeah? He would get diagnosed with a disorder. Do you think
A
he
brain
cares? Do you
dead
think
person
he's
would
disrupted? No,
a
no,
brain dead per-
basically brain dead. Basically. No,
would
not really. Just really stupid, like 20 IQ, yeah? So he can't do math and stuff.
okay.
But he can watch SpongeBob or some stuff.
That
He's
would
like
be a
a
disorder.
5-year-old. Yeah. And he doesn't give a fuck because he doesn't have the capacity to care to begin with. He just watches SpongeBob. He's fine. Yeah, he doesn't care.
Well, it
Would you
sounds
say he
like
doesn't have a disorder now because he doesn't give a fuck? Like
no,
he's
because
not
it's
disrupted.
interfering with his capacity to give a fuck.
But the 5-year-old doesn't have a disorder because that's normal, right? Like
Right. So that there is nothing impeding their day to day experiences.
right. So it's based on what is the norm, what is expected, and then it has to be something that breaks it, right? Like if
Only in
someone has
terms that what we
five.
expect the norm to be is a lack of disruptions from our own minds in our day to day activities.
Yeah, but the same way you could say that the guy who has really low IQ is disrupted, you could say a guy with really high IQ is disrupted, but positively, because he's not the norm, but it's just beneficial, right? But we don't say that's a disorder because it's good, right?
Hold on. Wait, what is your example again? These examples are so confusing. Go ahead. Hit me back
If
with
you
it.
have an unusually high IQ and your
Mm-hmm.
normal developments get disrupted by a giant
Uh huh.
spike in IQ, right?
Right.
That wouldn't be considered a disorder because it's not bad, right?
I mean, it could be. It's possible, I guess, that you could have an IQ that is so high that it would interfere with your day to day activities. I mean, IQ is a horrible way to measure anything, but I am just assuming that for the sake of argument that we can
No, no,
accurately measure
I'm
something
saying
with IQ.
I'm saying it's disrupting your normal development. So you're not supposed to be at that point yet, but you are, right?
No, you are conflating an abnormalcy with a disruption. Those are
Oh,
not
that's what you did,
necessarily the
right?
same
With the,
things.
the guy who's like a 5-year-old IQ, right? In that case, he is just abnormally stupid, and he's not disrupted because he doesn't mind, right? Like,
No, it's not about whether or not he minds.
what is it about then?
It's about whether they can conduct their day-to-day activities without the processes being interrupted with a mind that didn't have that disruption.
They can do their day-to-day activities. Their day-to-day activities are just lower than expected, right? That's the point.
I,
They
okay,
have the data.
this
Yeah.
question was just brought up in chat, so I want to make sure that we're being clear on this. I'm sorry to look at chat again. There is a difference between being transgender and having gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria, what you're describing in chat, declams, that is a disorder, but not all transgender people have gender dysphoria. And cis people can have gender dysphoria. They are related things, but they are not the same thing.
That essentially just sounds like saying not all people with anorexia have issues. So some of them, some of
Except you
them are
can
fine.
demonstrate harm with anorexia. What is the harm of being transgender?
That you cut off your genitals and,
Not
and
everybody
fucking.
not everybody does that in the first place.
Not everybody with
Let's
anorexia
let's stick
becomes
with
fucking skinny, right? Some of
that's
them they're no fine, right? Like that's
except that they still have the disorder that makes them desire to not treat themselves well.
yeah, and the transgender guy still has the disorder that desires to cut off his dick.
No, they don't. That's a thing you're assuming about this person because they're
Well, then
transgender.
then you're assuming that the anorexic guy wants to ruin his body with
No,
with
that's literally
fucking
what anorexia is.
No, it's like you feel extremely skinny, right? Like you think you're fat, but you want to get skinny. You want to get skinny. That's the point, right?
I'm pretty sure that you don't have to have body dysmorphia to have anorexia, but I may be wrong on that. Um, the anorexia would be the desire to starve oneself. If I'm not mistaken on that, I don't know my disorders forward and backward, so I may be wrong.
I'm
People
pretty
can
sure
correct
it
me.
means you just see yourself as being fat, but you're not.
I don't think you have
What's
to. I think you just have to have the drive to not eat
anorexia?
and to deprive yourself of caloric intake.
Anorexia has two meanings. Okay, medical term for loss of appetite, and it is
Hmm.
common shorthand for a serious eating disorder.
Yep. So you
Anorexia.
don't have to have body dysmorphia to have
Okay,
anorexia.
what do you call the guy that thinks he's fat, but he doesn't necessarily eat less? He just thinks he's fat, and that's it.
That would be body dysmorphia.
Yeah, what kind?
What do, what do you mean? I don't know if they differentiate the specific kinds of body dysmorphia.
Okay,
It is
body dysmorphia then. The guy thinks he's fat. Would you
okay.
say then that it's only a disorder if he starts eating less?
Well, A, it's only body dysmorphia if his perception of himself as being fat causes
Yeah.
him a disruption in his day to day activities. And so then, yes, B, it would only be a disorder if it disrupted their day to day activities.
Okay, what do you just call the false perception then? A delusion? Is that what you call it?
Yeah,
Without
that would
the...
be a delusion. Yeah.
Okay, then I would say transgender is a type of delusion, I guess.
Okay.
Like that's
What are you saying that they see that isn't there?
well, they clearly just see themselves as female, and
No, they
that's
don't
how
see
it should be.
themselves as female.
Well,
This
then
is
why do
something we
they
touched on
want to get
like how long
surgery
ago
and shit?
was that an hour ago? 45
Yeah,
minutes
yeah,
ago?
I
It's not a
understand, but
biological
that
claim.
just sounds like cope to me, honestly.
Okay, you can just be wrong. That's fine. Like it's literally a different topic.
It's like if some guy thinks he's a chair and he's gonna sit on 4 feet and he says, "Well, I'm not really a chair. I'm just sitting on 4 feet and put food on my back." It's a bit of a, it's a bit of a cop out. It just seems like he would wish to be born that way. I think the transgender would wish to be born female,
A
and
transgender
it's
person
just like,
doesn't have to want any changes to their body at all.
okay, but then they just want to be feminine or masculine, right? Like.
Uh to the
Like now
degree
you
to
get into the
which they
whole
fall into the
subjective
gender category,
definition
yeah.
stuff again.
Huh?
Now you get into the whole subjective definition stuff again. Like one
Right. What?
person.
Identity? Wow.
Yeah, I don't believe in that at all.
You don't
Like
believe
I
in an
don't think that's
identity.
a thing with anything. Yeah, if that's how you define identity, then I guess I don't.
Okay.
That
So
just sounds like
so
like a trick,
would you support men wearing
essentially.
dresses?
No,
Why? What does that have to do with their biology?
it just looks a bit gay. That's it. Like sorry,
Wow, what does it have
that's
to
it.
do with them having sex with men?
Yeah, it's a bit feminine, That's it. I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
say
you
that
knew
they become women
you
if
know
they do it.
dresses were designed for men, right?
Well, you have like you know what's it called in English? Thaub, right? You have thaub, and then you have thobe in English, and you have a dress, right? It's not the same thing.
Um, okay, how would you define a dress?
A dress is like you have the band on the hips, and you have the bra pad and stuff. It's
Sorry?
not just a garment that goes below the knees. It's not that simple. Yeah,
Uh,
men can wear
I'm still trying to
dresses.
understand give me a solid definition for what a dress is.
A dress needs to have the band in the hips, so it's like the fabric is connected there, so you can see like a transition in the hips, and it has the bra pads and stuff, right? If it goes lower, then that's a skirt, right? It needs to
Something
be
without bra pads is not a dress.
Yeah, if it, I mean, I guess you could have the no bra pads, but it just covers it, I guess, with cloth.
I imagine that would
It
be
has
a
to
pretty
go,
common
yeah.
thing in dresses.
Yeah, yeah, sure. It just has to be there, you know.
It has
Else
to
it's
have the
a
band at the
skirt.
hips to be a dress.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, and you're saying that there were not historically. So now it's a piece of cloth that is, I assume, open at the bottom, has a band at the hips.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let me just show
I'm I,
you
I'm sorry,
the
Maven the
picture.
Reaper.
Uh, Here.
That's gay. That's ridiculous.
Look in the general.
Okay.
Uh, can I send images in general? No, I can't. Okay. Do you have
I
a channel where you can send images? Side chat, maybe?
I let's see. You can just DM me.
Okay. Uh, let's see.
We had some trolls last week that posted a bunch of scat images. That was fun.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay, so
Images.
that's a dress. And you're
Yeah.
saying that
And you
there is
see this?
nothing that looks like that was designed for men in history
This
or
is a
somewhere else in the
phobe.
world.
It's not the same thing, bro. It's a different kind of like if you go up to that guy and you say, "Oh, it's a dress," he's gonna get mad as fuck. Like that.
Well,
That's
that's
not.
not what I'm talking about. You're saying that there is nothing like that first image that men have ever worn in history or in other cultures.
Well, you have something else. You have other types of clothing, but this, no, not this. Like
If
you have
and,
the
and if I
medieval
could and
shit.
if I could
Like,
find something, what would you say?
well, you're probably gonna find one of those medieval, like, you know, the thing Link wears in Zelda, that kind of shit that the
A
men have
tunic?
with the tunic. Yeah, you're probably gonna find a tunic and be like, "Oh, that's a dress," but it isn't really. It clearly looks different. That's the point.
Um, man, how can I? Here, I
Like
can post. I can
I
post
would
it in
wear a
chat. Here,
tunic.
that's what I
I
can
would
do.
wear a tunic. That's fine. But,
This is the garment we're discussing in voice chat.
well, maybe you're gonna find the Scottish, you know, the Scottish with
What, a
the
kilt?
kilt. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the only one where it's actually
Are
a
kilts
skirt,
gay?
but they did it. Well, they did it for like weird shit. They did it to show the dick, and that's why they did it in the
Is that
war.
gay?
I mean, it's kind of, yeah. They show the dick to the enemy. It's kind of gay, but
So should men wear kilts?
sort of. I think this is fine. I guess it's sort of
Okay.
different, but
But men should not wear this white dress that's now posted in general.
let's see. Yeah, that would be just kind of gay. Yeah.
Okay, so you believe in gender?
Well, I wouldn't say that's gender. I wouldn't say that if a man were to wear it, that would make him a woman. Like
Well, you're
that
saying
would
that a
just make
man
him
should
a
not wear it.
femboy.
Why should a man not wear it?
He would be a femboy. That's what he would be.
So it's a sociocultural issue?
Yeah, I guess.
So
Yeah.
you believe in gender.
I mean, that would be like
That's
roles,
literally
right?
what we're talking about. You think this is a
Well, the
quality that does
gender
not
thing
belong to a man
implies
that
that
has
that
nothing to
makes
do
him a
with their
woman, right?
biology. What?
The gender thing implies that that makes him like a social woman category that I should recognize, right?
Uh, no, gender doesn't imply that. Being respectful of a human being would imply that, but you can believe
So
in
you
gender
think a
and not want to
femboy is a
respect it.
gender?
Huh?
How about femboy? Is that a gender then?
Well, you
Or
think
eunuch?
that you,
Like,
you think that a man should not wear a dress to be a
uh-huh.
man, and that has nothing to do
No,
with their
no.
biology.
Not to be a man, just to not look gay, that's it.
To
I
not
wouldn't
look
say they're
gay. I
not a
don't really
man
know how
anymore
this has to
to...
do anything with who they're having sex with.
Yeah, to not act feminine while being a
I hate to
man.
break it
That's
to you,
it.
there are some men that wear dresses that They fuck women. Hate to
I
break it to you.
understand, but
Probably more than
the
you.
point is, I mean gay as in like they act
As in not the
feminine,
thing you said. Oh yeah, I get you. I
femboy.
understand.
Yeah, you know how
You just think it's
people,
insulting,
you
so
know
you like
how
to
in the
say it about things you
playground,
don't mean it about.
you know how in the playground, if you acted like a woman, they would say you're gay. That's it.
So you're acting like a child.
Well, it's a bit of a old usage, I
Yeah,
guess. That's it.
yeah. Acting like a child is what that is.
Yeah, whatever. You get the point,
You
right?
think that someone is different from you, so you think that makes it worth being like it's worthy of insulting.
It's
And it's
whatever,
so
man.
worthy of insulting that you have
Holy
likened
shit.
being that to an insult, and then you apply it to other groups of people that are not the thing you're describing as an insult. It's pretty childish.
Yeah,
I hate
that
to break
sounds
that to
like
you that like I have to
human
be the adult in
speech.
the room and
Yeah,
explain to you
sounds
that the
like
thing
human
you're doing
speech.
is a childish thing.
I don't think only kids call stuff gay that they like. I
I
don't think
think
that's
that
a kid
adults that do
exclusive
that
thing.
are acting like children.
I mean, more adults do it than children. So it's just, I think
Yeah,
you're the one
I
being
don't have a
insulting
very
by
high
calling
opinion
it
of a lot of
childish.
adults, my guy,
Okay, but if more adults do it than kids, then how is it childish?
because some adults don't take on the characteristics that we would consider to be mature.
Okay, how do you know it's not just a mature kid instead of a childish adult? And it's actually an adult trait that some kids have because it's less kids doing it than adults. Now what?
Well, when I say childish, I don't mean the opposite of adult, I mean the opposite of mature.
Okay, and how do you know whether it's mature or not? Like, well, that's just like that's the insult basically. That's just a subjective thing basically. You think
Okay,
you shouldn't do it if you're an adult. That's it.
so I would not consider it to be mature, and I suppose you can disagree with this. I don't suppose it would be
Yeah.
mature to want
Okay, bro.
to cause harm to someone for no
Harm.
benefit.
Okay, bro.
Yeah, to cause disrespect is to cause harm. That is why you're disrespectful to people. That's what you hope to elicit from people is their experience of harm. That's what disrespect is.
It's a bit of an over-the-top word, you know? It's like if someone flicks his
I
finger in your
mean, you
skin
can
and you
be as
say you got
fifis as
beaten
you
the
want
shit
to
out of.
about it. I'm just describing words. You can be all up in your feelings.
No,
That's what
like
disrespect
harm.
is.
Harm sounds like you're wronging someone, basically.
That's what disrespect is. If it's not causing harm, if it's not intended to cause harm, then it's just ignorance. If you are wanting to be disrespectful, you are
Who am I
intending some
even
level of harm.
annoying then? You think I'm harming you?
What?
Who am I harming you?
I think you are harming the legitimacy of transgender people for sure.
Well, I don't believe in it, so.
Well, you do believe in gender, you just don't believe in there being any kind of beneficial effectiveness of using
Yeah,
gender to refer to
what you're
people.
describing, I would just call like masculinity and femininity. And I
Great,
would
you
say it has
believe in
nothing to
gender.
do
You
with
believe
man.
in the sociocultural aspects as disconnected from biology.
Yeah, that's just masculine and feminine.
Great, you use a different word for it. That's very special of you.
Yeah, but you think it's separate. You think a masculine man or feminine man can still be a man, right? So clearly you don't think it's the same thing as the gender stuff.
You think a feminine man can still be a man. Are
Yeah,
you
that's because
kidding?
I'd reject the gender stuff. That's why.
What?
But you don't. That's why it causes a problem for you,
It
right?
doesn't cause a problem to me. We walked through this very first thing in this phone
Okay,
in this call.
so you
Do you
think
want to you want
woman
to go back and
gender?
watch the
Wait a
recording and it
second,
can
wait a
explain it
second,
to you all over again and you can
wait a
see how
second,
it's
wait a second,
logically sound
wait a
and
second.
consistent?
So you think woman gender is the same thing as feminine, but at the same time, a woman can be masculine and still a woman.
I don't think you described that accurately.
Woman means feminine, yet a masculine woman
Hey,
can exist.
here's a fun question. Can some people hold
Okay,
masculine traits and feminine traits?
sure.
Wow, holy shit. How did we do that? I feel like we did that in record time, guys. We reached a resolution.
That's
You
like saying,
can
can an
you
image have a black pixel and a white pixel? Well, when you say a white image, you don't mean like one pixel is white. You mean it's mostly white. That's what you mean when you say a white image, right? It's the same with
when you say a
masculine and
white
feminine.
image, you mean a image that is mostly white?
Yes.
Yeah, I imagine that would be true.
Yeah, so it's the same with masculine and feminine. You saying like, can you have mixed traits isn't like this massive revelation. It's like, yeah, you can, but when I say you're feminine, I mean like at least more than 50%. Probably like more than 80
That's
when I say.
cool, except your problem is you are measuring this like it's an image, and an image can
Yeah,
only be measured in its the space within it.
I just mean it's
There
the
are also
percentage.
there are also matters of like extremity, severity, significance. You
Well,
can't
yeah,
just
the
count the
image,
number of traits, my guy.
you have brightness, sure. It can be a bright white or a fucking a bit grayish white,
Wow, I feel
whatever.
like you're adding to my point here.
Yeah, but when you say feminine or masculine, it just means
Mm-hmm.
overall it's basically that's all it means, right? But by your logic, if that is what makes you a woman, they would basically be a woman if they're feminine. But if you ask them, they would say no, they're just gay, right? That's it.
What?
That's the problem.
What?
Okay,
Huh?
let's say you have a guy that is mostly feminine. By your
A
logic, that's a
guy that
woman.
is mostly feminine. Okay.
Yeah.
And by mostly, you mean the majority of the traits.
Yeah,
Like if we counted
and
all the
the
traits.
severity. Let's say you have a whole calculation, so you change the proportional worth of the severity. You know, like the
Okay,
really
sure.
bad one
Uh
is
huh.
yeah higher percent, sure. So he's mostly feminine, but you
Okay.
can ask him, and this guy will say no, no, he's a guy, he's just gay. Now what? You would say, oh, it's
I don't know what
subjective
being gay
definition.
has to do with this. That is so weird to add. But
Okay,
okay,
he's a femboy then, whatever, whatever.
okay. So you're saying
Eunuch. Yeah.
you're saying that in terms of weight, not in
Hmm.
terms of number, in terms of weight, his characteristics are mostly feminine. But
Uh-huh.
he says that he does not identify as a woman.
Uh-huh.
Then that would
He
mean,
says it's
from
just
his
gay.
perspective, the weight is not mostly feminine.
Why? Says who?
Him.
No. Maybe he says
Yeah.
it's mostly feminine. Maybe he does say
It
it's
can't
mostly
be
feminine.
if he's not a woman.
Yeah, I
If
think
the
that's.
most
I think I
powerful
don't
traits, the
believe that at
things that
all.
mattered most to him about being a woman, were all on the side of being a woman, and he was not a woman, then he would not consider them to be the dominant factor. He would then
Yeah.
consider, at a minimum, to be just the identification as a woman to be the most significant aspect, and that would bear the most weight.
Yeah. So now you're like imposing the transgender logic on like other people, right? That's the point that you're doing.
What, the concept of
Like
identity, individual identities?
yeah. Not you have to
Why
understand.
should
Most
any
people
of
don't
us
believe in
recognize
this.
each other's names?
Yeah, it's a name, bro. It's not the
It's
same
just a
thing as
gender,
like
bro. It's
the
just a gender. It's just pronouns, bro. It's not gonna hurt you.
yeah, the pronoun, sure, you can say that. It's just a word, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, most people don't think like this with the gender, right? Like you can have this gay guy that sees himself as mostly feminine, but he just says he's a guy because he has a dick. That's it. It doesn't go that deeply for most people.
Okay. I would recognize the gender that the person would like me to recognize because that's what identity is. And when you deny people their identity, research shows that people tend to have bad outcomes. So
What if my
I would rather
like
just
you don't do
recognize the
this?
individual.
Yeah. You know very well you don't do this universally. It's like this specific thing you believe in. If I go up to you and say, my identity is handsome
I
and
believe in
smart,
believing
you
things that
can
have
say that.
benefits. What is the benefit of the thing that you believe?
Well, you can boost my self-esteem by saying that I'm handsome. So I identify as handsome, and that has benefit. Like you have to call me handsome every sentence. Like that's essentially the same thing.
Well, I think calling every person who wanted to be called beautiful beautiful would not be beneficial. But I do think
Why
calling
not?
anybody ugly would be harmful, so I'm not going to do that.
Why wouldn't it be beneficial that they get a confidence boost, right?
Because you're identifying a term that has a value weight, and now we are applying that value to everyone, and so the thing loses its value.
Okay, sure,
Because
whatever.
there's not going to be
Everyone would.
anyone who
Okay,
doesn't want to be
everyone would
called
say.
that because it has value.
I mean, I could say the same thing
God,
about
it's
the
almost
gender,
like
right?
I have a consistent worldview. Where is yours?
I wouldn't. I would say it's the exact same thing for the gender, though. Like,
Okay,
if you have a
what?
bunch
Yeah,
of
explain that to me.
males,
Walk me through that one.
yeah, yeah, if you have a bunch of males saying that they're women, maybe they're not really feminine at all, but they say that they are, then you're gonna devalue the group basically. Because now
How?
when
They
you
still
think of
consider
women, you
themselves feminine.
yeah, but I don't. That's the point. So for me, it devalues the word basically.
I,
Because now when I think of women, I think of women plus gays.
how does it devalue? Like, where's the loss in value there?
Well, for example, when I think of woman, I think of they're attractive because I am not gay,
You
right?
think all women are attractive.
Well, you have exceptions, but on the most part, yeah,
Okay, so it
sure.
has nothing to do with the fact that they're women. It has to
Well,
do about with whether they're attractive or not.
it's not that. It's
Oh
there's a difference
no.
between like I don't like them because they're gay and a man, or I don't like them because they look ugly, right? That's a different thing, right? That's a different reason for not
Like, you
being
can have
attracted.
different reasons you don't find women attractive.
Yeah. So this one is devaluing women by adding a bunch of a specific reason for why I don't find them attractive to the
For
mix. You
adding
understand?
additional reasons you might not find women attractive, I don't see how
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
impacts. Like, you find fewer women attractive now? Like,
Yeah.
I don't see how
And
that
for
harms
example,
your number of women that you do find attractive. It literally doesn't change
well,
the number of women
if
you
I
find attractive. Well, it might change the number of women you find attractive if you find
yes, it
some
will.
some femboys that are like actually women. If you find them
No.
attractive, then it could change the
Uh,
number of women you find
no.
attractive.
I'm saying that I'm not interested in the transgender. So now the amount of women I'm interested in is going down a lot. You
The
understand? Like,
percentage is, but it changes your access to attractive women in no way whatsoever.
well, if I go on a dating app, right, and I type in woman, then I'm gonna scroll through a bunch of shit, basically. That's the point. And the
So
word gets
you're
devalued.
worried about finding an attractive trans man or trans woman.
No, I'm saying I want to find a normal woman, but now you have to scroll through the transgender.
Okay, and that is more harmful than not recognizing people's identities.
It's a competition now. It's a competition.
I mean, everything
Okay,
is a weight between benefit and harm.
sure. I would say for the majority of people, yeah, but and not even that. Like you're devaluing the word exactly like you described first, right? Like if I say something like I find women attractive now, then they don't know what I mean anymore. Maybe they mean I find females attractive, or maybe I mean like
Yeah,
transgender.
I have no difficulty saying I am attracted to cis women.
Right. Now you basically you're proving you devalued the word because now you have to
I
add
didn't
like
devalue a
three
word. I'm
letters.
being specific.
No, you have to add three letters before, while previously those three letters weren't necessary at all. You could just say woman,
They're
right?
no
And
more necessary now. I'm just being more specific.
no, in the past, when people said woman, they meant cis woman. That's the point. You're devaluing the word by adding the
That's not
non-cises
it's
in the
not
mix.
devaluing it.
Well, in my opinion, it is because when I say I like woman, I now have to say something else because it's less valuable to me. I
Right.
like it
So
less
so
now.
your
Right.
concern is your inconvenience versus other people's loss of identity.
Well, their loss of
That's
identity
cool. So
is
you're
an
just a
inconvenience.
disrespectful person.
That's
You
an
can just say
inconvenience
that.
for
You
the.
can own being a disrespectful person. That's fine.
I would say that's also a loss of convenience. Like they're not called
Yeah,
the word they like. I wouldn't say that's a pretty
actually,
important.
studies would
Yeah.
show that when you disregard an individual's identity, it causes them harm. It increases the likelihood that they will take their own lives. And that's just a human quality. That is just a
Well,
part of being a
I
human
would
being.
say I would say it increases the likelihood of me doing that if I have to sift through the the
Yeah, great.
transgenders.
So you're just gonna whine and complain about your inconvenience on dating apps compared to other people's lived experience as their identity is erased.
Let's
You are
say,
just a
wait a
disrespectful
second,
person, and
wait
you're
a second,
allowed to say that. You're
wait
allowed
a
to be
second.
disrespectful, Tim.
Chill, chill, chill. What if a bunch of men start killing themselves because they have to sift through transgender on the dating app, and then like they meet, and then oh, it's
Well,
he has a
gosh,
penis.
that would be a statistic worth looking into and finding a resolution
What if
for.
that happens?
Let's
What would you
examine
do?
that when that happens.
If that would happen, would you like react and be like, no, now the transgender doesn't exist anymore because it's a net negative on society or something
I
like
would
that?
definitely have to look at the intersection of those two things and say, what is the appropriate
Yeah,
societal
I'm
response
giving
to
you a
this?
scenario. If that were to be the case,
I
how would
can't
you react to it?
explore I can't explore the resolutions to that scenario because I don't have research in front of me. I would need research, Tim. That's how
Yeah,
science works.
that's if it was real, but I'm giving you a hypothetical, right? That's
No,
the
yeah,
point.
if yeah, in a hypothetical, I still also need to know all of the like the factors that went into the study. What outcomes have they measured? Like if you did
Okay,
give me
skip
like
that point.
specifics, if you did give me
You get
specifics on
this.
what the
Okay,
studies found, I could make a determination on that.
yeah, you
And it
read the
might have to take me
studies.
a while. I might have to sit on it for a fucking couple
Okay,
years and be like,
you
what
read the
is the right way for
studies.
society to
Yeah,
approach
yeah,
this?
yeah. You read
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah.
studies,
Okay.
and you found that
Yeah, all right.
men tend to kill themselves if they have to, date with transgender women and find out that they're male. That's the results of the study. They don't like it.
They don't like it, so they want to kill themselves.
Yeah, they get
Wow.
upset. They can't find real women anymore, so they cry
Well, I
themselves to
would
sleep
doubt
and
that
kill them.
has anything to do with the identities of the other people, and that would probably have to do with some other issues that those men have going on.
So you're blaming them for not liking it? That's it, basically.
I'm telling you what I would expect to be the conclusion.
But this is a moral thing, right? Like, who's at fault? Them,
This is
or
a moral thing.
is it their own fault for not liking it, or is it the other person's fault?
No,
That's
people
like,
are people. No, people. This isn't about whether or not they like it. This is about whether or not them channeling liking it has something to do with their mortality rate. So
yeah.
I
So the
don't find there
study
to be
finds
any
it
issue
does.
with them
It's a
not being
statistical
attracted to specific
correlation.
kinds of people.
Yeah, so it's a statistical correlation, let's say, that they kill themselves because of it, because they have to interact with it. They can't, they can't just try to meet women anymore because no one knows what woman means.
I would still
Maybe it means
suspect
transgender, maybe it
I
doesn't.
would still suspect that that doesn't have anything to do with the identities of the other people. I would suspect that there is some other comorbidity that is causing this problem in specific men because I don't imagine it's all men. If it is all men, then man, we do really have something we need to look at there. And it might
Well,
take us a couple years to work it out.
let's say it's more men
Thankfully, we
than
don't have to
the
deal with this bullshit scenario.
let's say it's more men than transgenders exist in society, but it's still a minority. Let's say that.
More men are killing themselves because trans people are on apps.
Yeah, let's say that more men kill themselves because of that than transgenders kill themselves because of
Why are
identity.
they
Let's
killing
say
themselves?
because they're upset they keep having these dates with these transgenders.
They're they're killing themselves because they're upset about what other people are doing.
No, because they have to sift through it on the app, you understand? They just keep scrolling and they can't find because every one they swipe is happens to be
Sounds like a
a
problem for the
male.
free market, right?
Yeah, that basically.
Capitalism.
It's market inflation, yeah. Dick inflation.
Uh, then this sounds like with without further. I like, dude, this is so hard for me to imagine because it sounds like the person is they just have a fucking issue with what other people do. Deal with it. Grow up.
Well, the issue they have is that they can't find a woman that's female anymore.
Yeah, sure they can.
What do you mean?
Sure they can. They can easily find women who are female.
Well, on these apps, right? Most of them will not be female anymore, right? Like
Gosh,
if you
do
look at
you
the
know what would
stats.
happen if we abolished gender? And I'm a gender abolitionist. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I don't think that's possible.
I don't
I
think it's
mean,
possible either,
maybe
but do you know
that.
what would
Okay,
happen if we
sure.
did?
It depends what you mean.
We
What do
would
you mean
have
with the
genital
gender?
preferences. We would note what our genital preferences are. What is the problem with this?
Oh yeah, that's already how I function. When I say I like women, and then that's a genital
Great, then it sounds
preference.
like you need an app that allows you a function of determining what like genitals you prefer.
You know what you could
But
also
also,
do
by the
instead of
way, it's
this?
super dehumanizing just to like base who people are on their genitals.
But you understand, right, that if that were to happen, no, like most people that aren't
Right,
transgenders
Maddie?
wouldn't.
Go talk to people in real life.
Yeah, most people wouldn't use the word woman anymore. Like if people get used to just saying vagina people or some shit like that, they wouldn't say woman anymore because
I'm
most
sure
people
we would
don't
have
care about that category.
I'm sure we would have a term that was just like a vagina having person and a penis having person.
Yeah, so what would happen then is the loop would just go back to where we started. Like we would go back to the 19th century where man and woman just meant male and female.
Except it wouldn't be back where we started because we still wouldn't have gender anymore. It would be entirely different because we
Yeah, we
don't have
didn't have
gender.
that back then either.
No, we still did.
What do you mean?
Gender
No one believes in that.
existed.
Yeah, when they said gender, they just meant the same thing as sex. That's what they
No, the
meant.
concept we have as gender today still existed back then.
No, man, you made it up in the 19th century. That's it.
No one made it up. It is a thing inherent to human beings.
Unless you mean like masculinity and femininity, like that's what you mean, the behavior and shit. That's what you
From
mean.
the beginning, there were cultural aspects associated with the biological groups. Gender existed from the beginning.
Yeah, how about you just keep those cultural things, but you don't name yourself after them? You just name yourself after the genitals. How about
Great,
that?
it turns out that people are more likely to kill themselves when we name it the other way. So it's more useful to
But
name it this way.
but that's what you want to do. You wanna name it that way anyways. You just wanna abolish the masculinity and femininity and shit.
What? Nobody's asking to
You do want to call them after the genitals, right?
without gender being part of it.
Yeah,
Currently, if
so
we
that's
stopped
our point of
dude, if
disagreement,
we
I guess.
stopped referring to gender at all, it would still exist.
Yeah, I don't get that point though, by the way. Like, well, why can't you just be a feminine man or a masculine woman instead of calling yourself a man or woman? Why is that so difficult?
Because that's not what they are?
You just said gender is like the social behaviors and shit.
Yeah.
Well,
Turns
that's
out
what
that's what's
masculinity
important
and
to
femininity
humans.
is. That's what masculinity and femininity means. Like the social behaviors of what men
You're
and women
just
do.
using different words for gender that is not the same as what other people are using to refer
Yeah,
to gender.
that's what I mean. Like, if they literally just like stopped calling themselves a man, but use these terms, the entire world would just agree with it. They
Oh,
would just
I see
stop
what you mean.
caring.
I see what you mean because they don't want to refer to their genitals. I don't understand why
Sorry,
you want to talk about people's genitals all the
but you
time.
you still do that though when you say male or female, right? So they still have to do that shit.
But yeah, I have no cause on a day-to-day basis to call people male and female. I don't do that.
So you're saying the only reason why transgenders want to use the word man and woman is so they can basically fit that function and like use it so no one else can use it a different way. That they can't be using it for biological reasons, I guess,
What?
because they want to avoid being called that at all.
They want to do that because they want to be recognized as the thing that it makes sense to them in their heads that they are on a socio-cultural basis.
Right, but if what they feel like is what the rest of the world calls masculine and feminine, why not just use that? Then everyone would just be like,
Because
yeah,
that
yeah, that
isn't
exists.
recognizing a person's identity.
It's you literally just said that it's the same thing with a different word.
Okay, okay. Let's think of it this way. Is is being willing to hear somebody out on their opinion on a intersocial matter and to stow your own opinion on that and feed back to them the thing that they would most find supportive. Is that a feminine characteristic or is that a masculine characteristic?
I would say that's a feminine
No, you're
characteristic.
wrong. It's a masculine characteristic. Now, which thing do we call the person that has that?
I mean, we disagree, I guess. I
Yeah, we
thought it was
fucking
feminine.
disagree. That's the whole fucking point, dude.
Okay. So,
God damn. You can't
so
just
you call it one
assign
thing and I
feminine to
call it
people.
another
Like,
thing.
that's not how that works.
Yeah, it's like saying we disagree on if a woman is attractive or some shit. Like, okay. So, like, what's the point?
Because why would a person who doesn't believe that that is a feminine characteristic own being feminine? And why should they? They may see it as a masculine characteristic and say, because that's who I am, that makes me a man. But you're going, no, that's a feminine characteristic. So why don't you just call yourself a feminine man? Or
So,
whatever.
so okay. So you're saying they want to do it the opposite? Didn't you have your whole you explained to me in detail how if you want to claim it's masculine or feminine, it needs to align with like pre-established societal stuff, right?
Sociocultural norms that, like, characteristics that historically have to do with sex. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you completely go against that, then you're also going against like your own explanation basically. So that wouldn't be an issue,
No,
right?
dude, like, determining them to be differently aligned doesn't mean they don't have to do with sex. That is a quality that we would associate with the sexes historically. And oftentimes those flip. They get, like, pink and blue would be sociocultural traits that have to do with sex, and they were opposite
Uh-huh.
in the past.
Yeah.
They
So what
change, so they are
I understand.
associated with
Yeah.
sex, but they aren't tied to the separate sexes separately.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. I don't get the point though, why you're saying this, but sure.
You were
Uh,
saying that you can't determine what things are and are not historically associated with sex because anything could be. But that's
no,
not.
no.
Or you
I'm
were saying
saying
that you
that
can go against it because somebody now has a different opinion than is the current cultural norm about
no.
which thing aligns with which sex.
What I'm saying is, you objected and said like, well, we can disagree, and because we can disagree, the transgenders shouldn't be using the terms masculine and feminine. But you had your own story where you said the exact same stuff about man and woman. Like people can disagree on what a man and woman is, right?
Yes,
But they themselves personally decide their own opinion on that, and then other people have to follow that.
because that's
So
what all
why?
humans do. Yes.
Okay, so why can't you just do that same shit, but with the words masculine and feminine? And everyone would agree. Like not a
Great. So
single
you're
person
saying,
on the planet would have an
so you
issue
can
with it.
say, I am a masculine. I am a
No, just I
feminine.
am masculine,
I am
without
masculine.
a.
Then, dude, you're literally suggesting a different solution to the same problem.
Yeah, that no one in the like that's my point
Cool.
basically. If you just did that, no one would give a fuck
Do you,
basically.
I want to ask, I want to know if you know what you sound like right now, because right now a whole bunch of the world is saying we should look at these two groups of people, and based on the socio-cultural traits that they identify with and that they identify with the sexes, we should call these people men and women. And you go, no. Based on those same things, we should call them masculine and feminine.
Yeah, that's what most of the world does. That's like the default way to call that, basically. And you have like you have to go against it, and then have a whole debate and a
Well,
whole
see, the
discussion
problem
about
the
this. Yeah.
problem is that I think there is a separation here between what gender is and what masculine and feminine is, but you're identifying the two things. You're identifying gender and you're saying this is the same thing as masculine and feminine. So now you're proposing a different solution than what would otherwise, by these people, if they agreed with you, propose the solution B, which would be to call them men and women. And you're saying, no, we should have different words for it, and that should be masculine and feminine. You're still
I
recognizing it.
thought you
You're still
said that
saying we should have
masculine.
different words for it, but now you're still saying that we would still
Yeah.
call them masculine women because we want to refer to their biology for some reason.
Yeah, I thought you said that being a woman is like social characteristics, like they like pink, they speak quietly, this, that, they fucking make
If that
food and
person
stuff.
associates those things with being a woman, then yeah.
Yeah, so how is that any different from femininity? That like you're just describing femininity, right? Like,
Because you can have the feminine characteristics that are necessary to that person to be a woman, and still have a bunch of masculine qualities that to them would make them seem like a masculine woman because they have the necessary qualities, but they have a bunch of other necessary qualities that make them a woman, but other qualities that are more man-like. So
yeah,
they could
or
be a
you could just
masculine
say,
woman and still be trans. I don't know
yeah,
how many times we have to
basically
go over
what you're
this. It's a
saying.
very simple concept.
Yeah, you might as well just say that the transgender woman that's masculine is just a not that feminine woman, and the fucking like the
Sorry, a
sorry, what
trans
me?
woman that is masculine is
Yeah,
just
sorry, I misspoke. When you say trans woman, that's masculine. You're essentially just saying a person that's a bit feminine. That's essentially what you're saying. You're saying they're feminine enough to be a woman, but they're not feminine enough to be called feminine. You might as well just say they're a bit feminine. But like you might literally as well do that.
they're feminine enough to be a woman, and then they are
Uh-huh.
otherwise masculine.
Yeah, so why not just say they're a bit feminine? Like they're more feminine than the neutral, but they're not that feminine that you would say they're like really feminine. Like why not just say that? You're intermediate feminine, whatever. Like
I don't know what you're trying to say.
yeah, I'm just saying.
This person's gender aligns with their schema on the female sex. So they are their schema of sociocultural aspects that are related to the female sex. So that person is therefore a woman. The
Yeah, you're
qualities that are
saying
necessary
nothing
to be a
different.
woman. What?
You're saying nothing different from what most people just say feminine. That's it. Like you're not describing anything new. You're just like making up new words. And
Except you
those new
are
words.
except you are denying what they are.
Yeah, but they like by insisting on being called that specific thing, you're causing like an entire societal pushback. Whereas if you just go with established
I'm not
terms,
causing a pushback. I think society could just fucking chill.
yeah, okay, but
Maybe
yeah,
society
sure,
could be more concerned with the harm to these people than their convenience.
yeah, you can say that, but that's not gonna work, bro. That's not gonna work.
Okay,
Like,
then I
what
will
do you
continue
mean?
to say it because I'm a
Here,
respectful person, not a disrespectful person.
you see this?
I don't see anything.
I'm screen sharing.
Uh, yeah, what's up?
Can you see it?
Yep.
Yeah. So what you were saying is there's like this line, right? And you call this like man, and you call this woman, yeah, this side. And you're essentially saying if you're here in terms of the weight, yeah, and you're a woman. If you're here in terms of the weight, you're a man. What the rest of the world just does is, I'm not gonna type it out, but fully masculine, feminine. What you're saying is like, well, we want to use these terms separately, but you're essentially using these the same way. So when you say it's a masculine woman, what you're basically just saying is that they're here.
Okay, no,
Like they're
I
on the
understand
woman's
now. I
side,
understand now.
but
You are describing
masculine.
You were
for the
describing
woman.
what people who recognize gender see as three different categories as just two different categories.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
most people see two categories. So
Yeah, they should
by
stop.
you, like, yeah, why though? Like, I don't see, like, I don't think there is actually a third
Because there is
category.
no substantial harm to it, to accepting it, and there's great benefit to it.
Well,
And it recognizes the humanity of other individuals. Cool.
right, but you're arguing over terminology that makes no difference, and you're in the minority.
It makes an
So
extraordinary
you're going,
difference. You just don't care. You
okay,
don't give a
can
shit.
you look at this? Look at this. This is woman, right? When you say it's a feminine woman, you're
Uh-huh.
not saying that they're here, right? You're saying that they're somewhere here. So like proportional to woman, they're on the
You're
masculine.
saying that
So
I'm saying that?
yeah, you're when you call someone a masculine woman, you're not saying that they're here, right, on the masculine side. You're saying that they're like here, right? That's what you say. They're here.
They could they could be way over there on the masculine side. I don't know what
Well,
you're
then you would
measuring
say they're
here.
a man, right? If they were
No,
here, you would say this is like the weight, right?
because
This is
the
the weight
only
we call.
important thing is whether they have the necessary qualities, and you don't get to determine what those are.
Okay, remember when we talked about the weight?
Yep, the weight.
So this is with the weight calculated.
Okay,
So
then
according to
yes.
you, if
Now that I
they're here,
understand
then
what
they're a
we're
male.
now I
Yeah,
understand what we're
man.
measuring,
Sorry.
then yes.
Yeah. So when you say this,
Uh huh.
essentially,
Yep.
they're a masculine woman, you're
Mm-hmm.
essentially saying they're just here, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you just scrap this here?
Uh huh.
This shit here, you scrap this, and when they're here, you just say they're a bit feminine because they're a bit beyond 50%.
Because
Yeah.
you're excluding the third category, which is inclusion in a social group.
Okay, but aren't you seeing that inclusion in the social group isn't describing any more factual information about them, and at the same time it's causing
Sure, it is.
like
You just don't like it.
societal division? It's causing whole societal division. What do you mean? What factual difference does it make to say they're a bit feminine or they're a fucking masculine transgender woman? You're communicating the same thing. They're like 60% on the scale.
You're
That's
not
it.
saying the same thing because you are not including the social group that they consider themselves to belong to.
Yeah, but that's not factual information. That's just a
Sure, it
term.
is. That is a
Like,
fact.
but that doesn't communicate anything about their being, right? That just communicates I want to be
Absolutely, it
called
does.
this word.
It communicates what their identity is, and their identity is a real thing. We can measure the
There-
harm of denying identity, and we do, and we see it. It is real.
It's just a word, right? The
It's not
word
just a
itself.
word, that's just your feeling on it. You don't like
Okay,
science, you deny the existence of this
listen
thing.
for a second. Listen for a second. We have this. This is the reality that they're here on this scale, right?
Uh huh.
Most people would call it a bit feminine. That's what most people would call it.
I
But
don't give a
you're
shit what most
insisting,
people say.
yeah, you're insisting they're on this side and they're proportional to the middle here, they're here. So that means they're a masculine transgender woman, right?
Sure.
Most people have an issue with that, but you're
I
still
don't give a
communicating.
shit what most people think, dude.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
care
I
about
understand.
facts.
I understand. I understand. But you're still communicating the same facts, aren't you? You're still just saying
No.
here on the scale.
Do I need to
This is the
repeat it to
fact.
you again? You
Okay,
are
listen, listen.
denying them their inclusion in a group that they associate with.
Yeah,
That
I
is
don't
a
think group
fact.
association is part of like an objective fact. I just think
It
that's
is an
a
objective fact.
desire.
I'm
That's
sorry.
just a
Objectives
desire.
don't care about your feelings. A person's
Like if I want to
identity is
be,
a fact.
that's their. You literally just said it perfectly well. Yeah, objective facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah, I'm
I want to
sorry,
be
dude.
called this
You
word
don't
is
like
a feeling.
science. I got it. You don't like
I
being
want to be
respectful and you
called.
don't like
Listen,
science.
listen for a second. Listen. I want to be called this word. That's a feeling. That's a desire, right? It isn't
What?
like anything.
No,
They're
dude,
not
that's not how
communicating
identities
some.
work. An identity
What
is
are they
inherent to
communicating
you.
then? What is inherent about a word that you're called and you want to be called that word? What's inherent about
Because
that?
we're a social
It's a syllable.
species, dog. We're a social species, and we interact with each other both physically and on another level that is intangible. We are a social species. We have groups. We have schemas. Schemas just exist inherently in the mind, and we can't help that they exist.
By the way, if you if they don't necessarily care about sex, then why do they want to be included within the group that all the females are in that bad?
Sorry?
If they don't care about what sex they are, why do they
Uh-huh.
want to be in the group with all the females? With the same word?
Because they want to be women. They don't consider it to be a female group, they consider it to be a group of women.
Okay, so why don't you just swap the word in your head and then get the whole societal issues over with by just renaming it feminine instead of woman, and then you solve the whole thing. Like that's it. You have your new group now that other people would consider you too, right? Because if they see a man that acts like a woman, that calls themselves a woman, then they would call it feminine already. And if they just swap the terms, that's it, over, solved.
Sorry, but the word women and men already denote gender.
Yeah, why don't you just like undo that invention
Gosh,
and
that
just
sure
use
would be
masculine instead?
nice.
Why don't you just like use masculine and feminine instead?
Because you're still excluding them from a group that they already see themselves as part of in their identity.
Well, you're excluding them from all the females, which they're
No, you're
just not,
excluding them
so it
from
doesn't matter.
women.
Well, the new women is now feminine. That's the new woman. That's the
Except
new
that
way we call
feminine
it.
and masculine already have purposes outside of inclusion in a social group. So we would need a different
Yeah,
word.
so do man and woman. Those also already have purposes other than inclusion in the social group. Most people
Great.
use
But
them
we have
for
alternative terms for
biology,
that,
right?
so we now have useful terms for all three
What
categories:
alternative terms?
males and females.
No, that's a whole different thing. That's like you can call a dog a male. like that's not gonna happen. People aren't gonna
Right.
start
Are
walking
you
outside.
confused when I say I step up to the plate and swing the bat? Are you confused about what I mean?
I didn't hear it that you said that.
When I
I
say
don't know
I
what it
mean
means either.
you're not from America, so maybe this is a bad one. Um, if I step up to the plate and swing the bat, are you confused about what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't even hear you say that. I don't know what it means.
Okay. Um, gosh, if I did a bit of cricket with some friends,
Uh-huh.
would you be confused about what I meant?
I mean, it's a game. You're playing
No, it's a
sports.
bug.
Oh, you mean that
So
kind
when you
of
talk
cricket?
about males and females, I know what you're fucking talking about depending on what you're talking about.
Yeah, but no one's gonna do that, bro. No one's
I'm
gonna
also a
say, "Oh,
lefty
there's
who
an..."
would say you can talk about men and women and males and females, and you can use those words to talk about gender or sex, but based on context, I'll know what you're talking about. That doesn't rule out these concepts.
Yeah, I understand, right? But the thing is, you're saying we can't swap the terms. This is like 99% of society isn't gonna swap these terms. People aren't gonna start saying there's a nice female walking
Society
outside.
is welcome to be pieces of shit.
No, but that just sounds weird, doesn't it? Like you're not gonna start saying there's a female walking outside. That sounds like low-key disrespectful
Dude,
too.
I'm
Like
not going to
that's
talk
the
about
point.
people's fucking genitals when they're walking outside.
Yeah, why is that? Why are you talking about their internal masculinity and femininity? Isn't that like
Because
weirder?
most of
Doesn't
the time
speak to
people
your
have gender presentation, so you can make some assumptions about what gender a person wants to be seen as based on what they express. That's not always correct, but those people also know that when they present in certain ways, people will see them as certain ways. So if I see a person in a dress with makeup with long hair and they're walking outside, I will say there's a woman walking outside. I could be wrong, but I think it's a fair thing to assume based on what they are presenting to me. And I am not going to be making any assumptions about what that person's genitals are, what their hormone levels are, or what their karyotype is.
Yeah, but you understand that
You are the one
that
relying on a
doesn't work
completely
for most
useless
people, right?
term. What?
Yeah, most people don't care about all of that. Most people just care about like the
Yeah,
biology.
no
That's
shit.
like
So most people are referring to gender. So wow, most of society is referring to gender already.
no, I'm saying most people care about biology, like what they actually are.
They actually don't, they just want to real bad. Most
No,
people have no idea what's going on in a person's body or under their clothes.
sure, sure, but that's still what they care about, even if they guess wrong. That's what they're trying to guess, right?
No,
They
now
they,
they
they don't
at this
care
point
about.
now we're at the point where they just want to care about that real bad, and that makes it even weirder
No,
because they
well,
don't
listen,
actually care about that.
listen. They care about it, even if they can't directly always 100% tell, right? That's the goal. Like when
Well,
they
that's
look
the
at someone, they're
surprise, is that that
judging.
means they don't actually care about it. It's just when somebody else wants to point it out that they don't actually care about that, they staunchly go, "No, I do actually. I'm never going to apply that in my life at all. I'm never actually going to cup somebody's crotch to figure out who they are, but I'm going to act like that matters." It doesn't actually.
Let me phrase it like this. Let's say you're
Surprise.
trying to read a certain book, right? And then you get a fake version from China. Does that mean that all along you weren't trying to read the book you were trying to read? Or does it just mean you were fooled?
Fooled, except nobody's trying to fool you.
Yeah, you were accidentally fooled. Okay, fine. So that's what
So if
happens
I
when they.
received a book that was not purporting to be another book, and then because I got this book, I was like, this must be that other book that I was hoping to get, then that's on me,
Yeah,
dude.
they're
It's not on
searching
the
for
book.
okay. They're searching in the library for a certain book. They see one that looks like the book they want. They grab it. Oh, it's wrong. They're disappointed. That doesn't mean that all along they were searching for what book it looks like. They weren't searching for what book it looks like. They were searching for what book it is. They're using what it looks like as a tool to get to what it is, right?
So are you
That's the
saying
point.
that in all these cases, I am looking for a person with a penis or a vagina?
Yes, that's what most
Why?
people do.
Why am I doing
That's
that?
that's what they care about. That's what we care about. Like,
Why?
yeah, maybe it sounds
Why are
weird
you
to
so
you.
obsessed with people's genitals, dude?
Yeah, I don't know why. That's how my brain is working. Like,
That's you, dude. That's just on you. If
I don't
that's
think
your
it's just
issue,
me,
maybe
man.
you should resolve that.
That's most of society, man.
I
It's
don't
not.
know that it is,
Yeah.
dude. I think a lot of society is convinced that they're supposed to care about that, but no one actually does. You don't actually get people that are cup checking people.
Yeah, they're not checking, but the reason why they care what it seems to be is because they assume that if it seems to be that case, it is. It's the
Uh
same with
huh.
animals, right? If you're looking outside, what kind of animals is? Is it a
Hey,
dog? Is
guess
it a
what?
cat?
How often
Wait
do
a
you
second.
get to confirm what your assumption is about somebody's sex?
Yeah, just as often as I can confirm what species the cat really is. If it's maybe a dog that just looks like a cat. No, never. Of course, never. Yeah,
So then it's not the thing they actually care about.
it is.
They're never going to
Like,
find out, so they
just
don't care about it.
let me help you with this. If you have an animal outside and you're wondering to yourself, what kind of animal is this? But you can't get a DNA test for the animal. Does that
Uh
mean
huh.
that you don't give a fuck about the species, but you just care what it looks like? Or does it mean you do care about the species, but you're using the looks as a tool to determine the species? What are you searching for? You want to know what it is, don't you?
Why do I want to know what it is?
Because you're looking around you, you hear a sound, and you think, what kind of animal is that? You
I'm
just want to know
curious
what
about
animal.
what kind of, like, whether this person has testes or not. I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's how most people judge each other. They
What the
put each
fuck are
other
you
in
talking
certain
about? That is
categories.
not how most people judge each other.
Well, I'll give you like
How many times have you assumed a person is a man and then you really want to find out whether they actually have testicles or
I'll
not?
say it in a nerdy way for you. From a biological perspective, right? From an evolutionary perspective,
Mm-hmm.
there's utility in judging someone's genitals, okay? How you socially interact with them, right?
So you're
Heterosexuals,
just
right?
talking about mating at this point.
I mean, that and
Okay.
first of all, sure, if you see someone outside, that's always something that goes through your mind. Is this a man? Is this a woman? Is she attractive? Yeah, that's one of the things, sure. But there's other dynamics too, right? Most people they want to be friends with the same sex. Yeah, they don't want
Well,
like
that's
maybe there are
pathetic.
exceptions. That's most people.
That's
Like
pathetic.
if you have oh, you can call it whatever you want, but if you go
Okay, I
to a
will.
primary
That's
school,
pathetic.
even from a young age, it's usually the boys with the boys and the girls with the girls, right?
Yeah, that's
That's just
socialized.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
My daughter has an equal number of boy and girl friends that come over to our house. It is
Yeah,
socialized.
I think that's socialized. Yeah, I think that's socialized. But the normal way is just
Every way that
they
we treat other human
differentiate.
beings is socialized. Yeah.
I don't think so. No.
I mean, you're right.
I
I would consider there to be some inherent like human
yes. Yeah.
values, like thou shalt not murder is a human value. Thou shalt not
Yeah.
rape is a human value.
I think this is the same thing. People just inherently care about the sex they have for, of course, mating, but also like,
Okay,
like
even if
social
that were
dynamics.
true, do we embrace all things that are natural tendencies?
I mean, you can say whatever you want, you can have whatever opinion you want, but most of society cares about this, right? That's the reality.
I
And I don't
don't
think you're
give a
gonna
shit
convince.
what most of society thinks, dude. Are we doing
Well,
an
you
ad
live.
populum argument
Well,
here? Is that what this conversation
yeah.
is? Are we just going to come up with what everybody thinks is the most popular argument? Is that how you base all of your decisions?
Well, speech is kind of ad populum. Yeah, that's how it works.
It can be. It's also I have speech that is inherent among my personal groups. That's not ad
I
populum
get it.
speech.
I get it. But all I'm trying to say is you can literally just use the masculine and feminine shit and
It
just
wouldn't
adjust.
describe the same thing. Thank you for walking me through that, by the
It
way,
kind
because I
of
did
is
land
though.
in a different position than I started with on the issue of masculine and feminine versus the gender categories, because they are describing two different concepts, and I did need to make
But
that clear to
you
myself.
you said though, like the only difference is that you're sorting them into the two categories. They're not inherently like there's no inherent difference. You're just sorting them
There
into
is an
two
inherent
irrelevant
difference.
categories.
That is an inherent difference. You just don't like it.
Okay, what do you mean? You're essentially using them like the minor feminine and the major feminine. That's essentially what you're sorting them into. Big
No,
feminine,
that's
small
what you're
feminine.
simplifying it to. It is more complicated than that. Schemas are complicated human
That's what you
things.
said. You said that when the ones that are essential to being a woman is just like the ones you value with the most weight, right? Out of the feminine traits, isn't it?
Sure.
Okay, so why don't you just call that like really important traits in femininity? Just very feminine. Why don't you just
Very
say it's
feminine to
very
the
feminine?
degree that it makes you a woman, yeah.
Or you just say very feminine to the degree that it makes you
But then
very
we're not getting
feminine.
to the same
Why?
concept, are we? Are we?
Well, the whole thing with this scale that you described is that there's these masculine and feminine traits, that they have different weights to them, and that if you calculate it all together, the weights together, then it will give you like a point on the scale from left to right. Yeah. Why can't you just like give it two words, left and right on the scale, and you
Because
just
you're
use
ignoring
that?
the other half of that equation.
Yeah, but there is no. It's a scale. It's left and right. It's a two. It's a one-dimensional line,
Okay,
right?
so
That we
you
agree
tell
on
me
that.
in your definition where the social groups of men and women come into it.
Yeah, that's this in your
Ah,
case.
got it. Okay, so that it doesn't get to the same thing.
No, that's what social groups of men and women is. That's masculine and feminine. That's what it is. You're just
So
renaming that
if
the
somebody
masculine
is
and
so
feminine.
now are you saying that if somebody's a masculine woman, they are a man?
Socially, yeah, they're like socially a man. That they have the social. They act as a man. Yeah,
Are you
that's it.
saying you believe in gender?
Well, this is how most people. If you rephrase it to this, everyone will agree with you, bro. Like everyone will say, yeah, you could say it like that. You could describe them as
I don't
socially
think
acting
most
like men.
people would agree that they are now socially a man or woman. Now you've jumped into a sticky spot on your side of the fence that a lot of people would
No,
disagree
no.
with you on.
You should say socially like a man, right?
No, see, now
Not,
you're cutting them out again.
but that's the definition of masculine. It's like you're socially like a man, but you're not a man. You're
Right. That's
only
right.
socially.
So I'm not disagreeing with you there. Now we need to introduce a third category that is the social inclusion in the
Okay,
social
wait,
categories that are men and
wait,
women.
wait, wait, wait. Let's do the same thing here. Let's do this. Let's see. We just put this, and we put a different thing. We put dog. We put cat. Then we put dog-like and cat-like.
When I
Yeah.
first listened to this, he was saying most people believe the opposite of what he is saying now.
Who says
uh,
that?
somebody in YouTube chat.
I don't know, man. Here, let's see. You have the skill. This is the dog-like and cat-like. In this case, we agree, right? In this case, we agree. You have this. Uh, you can be dog-like to any extent and cat-like to any extent on the skill, but that doesn't make you a dog or a cat, right? It's a separate thing.
Are we back to this? Are we back to like trying to define things socially that don't have social definitions?
No, I'm just gonna show you how it works exactly the same way, yeah.
Okay.
So we have a bunch of cats and dogs, yeah.
Well, I
Some
just want to
cats,
make clear before we start this, we don't have any social designators for things that are socially dogs and socially cats.
of course you do. Like,
No, we don't.
make a woofing sound, there you go. Make a bark sound, there you go. Now you're acting socially like a dog.
I am
Go
making
on
a
4
sound
feet.
that a dog makes. That does not in any way make me
Yeah.
socially in any way like a dog.
What's the difference between I'm doing the behavior that a woman does or I'm socially a woman? What's
That's
the
called
difference?
schemas of associations with sociocultural traits of human
Okay, so it's
beings.
okay. So it's associations with social traits. So
Uh
it's
huh.
like behavioral associations, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You have behavioral associations with dogs too. Dogs tend to bark, but other stuff can bark too, yeah? You can bark, yeah? But dogs
I
tend to
can
do it.
bark. I
So
can also meow. Like what? Where is the
exactly.
sociocultural trait here?
So if you like barking a lot, then you're on this side. If you like meowing a lot, you're on this side, yeah? You understand?
Okay, I can imagine categories with there that where there are people that like barking more and people that like meowing more. We
Okay.
are on
So
territory we've already covered. Keep going.
yeah. We're sorting animals, okay? So we're not sorting people, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We're sorting animals. We have all these animals. This one, it
So
looks a
wait,
bit
these
like a
aren't
dog.
social characteristics at all then.
They're social characteristics of animals.
Social characteristics of animals. They are just biological characteristics of animals.
No, the animal has behavior too. It can act a certain way too. You have this one, yeah? He
Okay.
acts a bit like a dog and also a bit like a cat, yeah? You have
Uh-huh.
this one, he acts a lot like a cat, not like a dog at all. You
Great.
have this one, whatever, yeah? You have all the animals.
Okay. I think
This
I
is
can
the
I think I can get behind this metaphor. Okay.
this is the social area and this is the
Great.
biological area. Why can't we just say this one is a bit in the middle? This one is a bit cat-like, not that much. This one is really cat-like. This one is a bit more dog-like, but a bit central, yeah. This one is really
Okay.
dog-like. Why do we have to say this one is a let's say someone is here. This one is a trans cat that's
We
dog-like.
wouldn't
Why
call it
why
a
do we
trans
have to say
cat.
that shit?
We wouldn't
Well, why why do you do that with people then?
because it's helpful.
Why is that more helpful than with the animals?
Because with the animals, I mean, there. I imagine there are like herd animals. We have a category for herd animals. Those are things that practice the social characteristics of having herd behaviors.
Okay, this is a whole separate thing. I'm saying, why don't you call cats that act really like dogs trans dogs?
Because a dog is a biological term.
Okay, why don't you say it's a trans social dog then? Whatever.
A trans social dog, because how is that helpful?
Okay, why
What
is
does that
that
help us
any
do? Give me the
nothing, right?
helpfulness. Give me the helpfulness, and then I will adopt it. If we have a
Yeah,
need to identify cats that act like dogs, if that tells us anything, then sure,
okay.
there would
Imagine
be a
people
reason
stop.
why we would categorize things that way.
Okay, imagine people started calling the cats that act like dogs, they started calling them dogs. So now when you say dog, 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 the cats, they walk up to you. So it's now useful to call them dogs, yeah?
Wait, how is that helpful?
Because people started calling them that, and now they're used to it, so they walk up to you if you say it. Yeah.
How is that helpful?
It's helpful to say it because then you can make them walk up to you. You can make them listen. Yeah. Dog, come here.
So you're basically calling it by a name? Then sure, that would be helpful. I will call this cat a
Okay.
dog so that it will come up to me. In that context, I would call the cat a dog if I need the
Okay.
cat to come up to me.
So
Jesus
the
Christ.
only reason why it's useful to call the dog-like cat a dog is because people started calling it a dog, and therefore it listens to the sound. Yeah. That's the only reason why it's useful to call it a dog, right?
Okay.
Wouldn't it be more practical to like break that convention and like rewire it to what it actually is? So you don't have to do that shit anymore, and then everyone will be happy, and there will
What
be
are you
no
saying that
arguments.
a trans woman actually is?
It's just a feminine man, bro.
Except it's a person whose schema aligns with women. That is a thing
Yeah,
that
you're
exists. It
that's just like
happens.
your
It
weird
just
way of
is true,
saying
dude. It just is
that.
true. I'm sorry.
That's what feminine means.
No,
That's
it's
what
not what
feminine
feminine
means.
means because
Yes.
if your schema aligns with being a man and you have feminine traits, then you're a feminine man. You have two things that are both true at the same time.
Okay, what you call feminine man is just like a bit masculine. That's it. Not very masculine, but still on the masculine side. That's what it
No,
is.
because then the schema doesn't fucking align. If the schema
Bro,
doesn't
this
align,
schema
you can't
doesn't
just
exist, bro.
ignore it. It does exist. It's part of being a human
Okay,
being.
let's analyze this the same
You
way.
have a
Let's
schema
say,
on men and a schema
okay,
on
okay,
women. You
okay,
do.
okay. Let's say now, instead of using these terms that you just agreed upon make sense, we have this weird schema shit. So the dog that the cat that looks like a dog has a schema. So the owner decides the schema, yeah. So it decides, the ears it looks a bit like a cat, but the snout it looks like a dog, and the fucking fur looks like a cat too. Sorry, then it should be this one, yeah. Cat, dog. Okay, so the schema says it's a cat.
I'm about burnt out, dude. This conversation's gotten so dumb.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
schema of the fucking dog says it's a cat because it has the traits I value are cat traits. Yeah. Is this more practical than just saying it's a fucking dog that looks like a cat?
No.
Okay, so why would that be any more practical for human beings? The only thing you're swapping out is a species. It's the exact same shit.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna imagine for a second that this would matter to cows because I live in Texas. I'm gonna imagine for a second that this matters to
Nah,
cows.
it's the owner. It's the owner. The owner decides. Yeah, the owner.
No, this is very relevant.
Okay, okay,
If
okay.
if it helped, if the cows looked at dogs and the cows thought, some of the cows thought, I am more like a cow than a dog. I am a cow. I am a dog, or I am a dog-like cow, or we need a new term for it because we don't have things that we use to refer to these things yet. I'm willing to bet you that the ranchers in Texas would immediately adopt that
Yeah, that already happens.
because
Like
the
my
ranchers in
dog.
Texas would not want their cows to kill themselves because they were not recognized as dogs. It's a matter of utility.
My dog is a golden retriever, and he was with blonde ponies before, and he thought he was one of the blonde ponies.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did, bro.
No, he did
He
not.
start he went on the
Sorry,
field and
sorry. Give me the evidence that your dog thought it was a pony.
well, he can't speak, but he acted like that. He was in the
Oh,
area with
you
the ponies. He
interpreted
didn't
his
want to leave.
dog-like actions to be like pony actions.
Well,
This
in
sounds
that
like a
case, the
you problem, dude.
farmers.
This sounds like a you problem,
In that
not your
case, the
dog.
farmers. In that case, the farmers that you keep talking about wouldn't know that the fucking animal thinks it's another animal because you would never know.
No shit. Good
Okay,
thing we
so
can
why did you
talk
bring
to
it up then?
fucking
What's the
people,
point?
dude.
Yeah, what's the point though? Like, why did you bring it up then if the farmers can't
Because
tell
it's
anyways?
helpful to human beings and we can talk to human beings.
Why? Okay, bro. Why is that more helpful if you can speak?
It's more helpful if you can speak because you can say how you identify. You can say
And
what group that you, in your head, it makes sense to you to be in, that being part of your identity.
okay, this is why I already said we should basically say the owners decide the schema. Yeah, the owners classify their
That
animal.
doesn't make
Okay,
any sense. That's not what a schema
why not?
is.
Why not?
A schema is internal. It
Why
is a
can't it
way
be
that we
internal
sort
to the
things in
owner?
our own heads.
Why can't you have like a schema of your property, like how you see your own property?
You can, but that's not identity.
Okay, then call it whatever. Yeah, it's the same concept, just for a slightly different like person that decides
Great, that
whatever.
still happens with gender. You have schemas on men and women. You see other people as being
Okay,
belonging to
let's
men
say
and
that.
women based
So
on
we
your own
have these,
schema.
yeah, yeah. We have these owners with the schemas, yeah. So this owner here, he has three traits of the dog. The dog has one dog trait and two cat traits. He looks a lot like a cat, even more than he looks like a dog. So the owner says that's a transgender cat or a trans species cat. Is that more useful to do, or is it just better to say it's a fucking dog that looks like a cat?
What is
Like,
the
what's the point?
usefulness?
Well, people look at it like a cat. Everyone looks at it and they think it's a cat. So I guess it's useful to just say it's a cat, so you don't have to say
How is
every
that
time, oh, it's a
useful?
dog. So you don't have to re-explain that it's actually a dog every time.
What, to just say it's a dog every time?
Yeah, that's
What is the
you don't
usefulness
have
in
to.
identifying the cat behavior?
Well, because it behaves and acts and looks physically like a cat.
And how does
So you
identifying
can
that
just
help me? How does that help me?
because everyone thinks it's a cat anyway, so you can just
How
say,
do
yeah, it's a
they
cat.
think it's a cat?
Yeah, because it looks like a cat. It's just a dog that looks like a cat, yeah?
Okay, so how does just owning that it's a cat help anyone? I feel like that would be
Well, you don't have to
detrimental.
be because then you don't have to come every time and say, actually, it's a dog. Less
But
speech. There
but
you go.
it seems more harmful for people to accept that it's a cat.
Yeah, same with transgender. It seems more harmful
Except
for
no,
people to.
because there's a matter of human suffering involved, idiot.
Well, there's a matter of
Jesus Christ, dude.
there's a matter of my inconvenience involved that I have to
Yeah, I
explain
know.
that
We've
it's a.
already recognized this. You're a piece of shit who thinks your inconvenience matters more than other people's suffering. You can do that.
Okay, let's say I have a mental
You
disorder where I
can
get
be
a.
a piece of
Okay,
shit.
okay,
It's
okay, okay,
okay.
bro. Okay, chill, chill. Let's say I have a mental disorder where I get upset if people call my dog a dog instead of a cat. Now what?
If what?
Let's say I have a mental disorder where I get upset and want to kill myself if people call my dog a dog instead of calling it a cat.
Then when I talk to you, I would probably call it a cat.
Is it? Is it socially a cat now? Is
No,
there like a
because the
new
cat doesn't
new
have the
concept?
identity, dude.
Yeah, it does have the identity. It just doesn't have
It
it
does
because of
not.
itself. It has it because of me, right? According to your logic, it has it because I have it. I insert it in the cat, right? Or in the
No,
dog.
you don't have an identity outside of yourself. You don't have an
Why can't
identity in
I?
a cat.
Okay, what do you call like your conception of other stuff?
Also, what you've
Perception?
identified is now a disorder
Why?
because you can't differentiate between what things in the room are other things.
No, I just think it's socially a cat.
Oh, then maybe it isn't a disorder. Maybe it's just a
Yeah.
delusion because you think that cats have social identities.
Well, they do actually, I would say. Yeah. If you raise a cat with
If
dogs, they
if
will
you
act
think
like
that
a dog. Yeah.
that doesn't mean that it identifies as a dog.
It means it's socially a dog, right?
No, not necessarily. It means it has adopted some social characteristics of a dog. That is not the same thing as
Yeah.
socially being a dog.
Well, if you calculate the weight of all of those characteristics, if they outweigh 50%, then that's socially a dog, I guess, by your logic. Yeah.
Not by my logic, by your.
You said that that's how the gender works, right? If you
With
calculate the
human
weight,
beings about
why would it make a
sociocultural
difference?
characteristics that relate to sex.
Why would that make a difference? Why
Why would
doesn't
it?
that work that way with everything?
Why doesn't
Why
it?
can't you just
Because
have
other
like a
things don't
social
have
scrum?
identities in the same way that people do.
Well, they have identities in their own way, right?
Wow, cool resolution, bro.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense why you don't
It
say that
makes
a
total
cat
sense, and
raised
you're
with
on board
dogs.
with it. You totally understand every aspect of it, but you're
It
trying
doesn't make sense
so
why you.
hard.
It doesn't make sense why you call a man that acts like a woman really much, that to the point where you would say he's more like a woman than a man. Why don't you just call it a really feminine man? That doesn't make sense, right? You call that a woman somehow, but then the dog you don't call it
Yeah,
a cat.
because socially they're a woman.
Yeah, but the fucking cat is socially a dog because
No,
it
it's
acts
not,
like
dude.
a dog in every way. It barks and shit because
You
it
don't know
grew
what the
up with a
cat
dog.
is, my guy.
Of course I know what a cat is.
Ask
I
the
can see
cat.
what it does, right?
No,
Yeah,
you
the
can't
fucking
tell
cat
what a
is
thing
not smart.
identifies as by what it does.
Why does it matter? Wait, why is that important? Why does it matter what it thinks in its head more than what it actually does?
Holy shit, that's the concept of identity.
Yeah, why does their
Denying
identity of
identity
them?
has demonstrable harm. Do we really
Yeah,
need to qualify that again?
why does their identity of themselves matter more than my identity of them?
Because when you deny theirs, they experience harm. You experience inconvenience.
Okay, what if I experience harm if if they deny my
Cool, call
perception
me
of
when
them?
you do.
Like, let's say
Call me when you do. And then we can
yeah, yeah,
stop
yeah.
playing this stupid
Let's
game where
say
you think your inconvenience matters so fucking much.
let's say a guy got married to a woman, and it turned out
Huh?
to be a transgender, right? But he doesn't want to know, right? Because it makes him upset. So he wants his he wants the woman to say it's a biological female every single time he asks, yeah. And he gets really upset if she doesn't say so.
I still don't see what harm he's experienced. What is his harm?
He gets emotional harm if he thinks about that it's
Oh, he's
that the
sad.
penis. Yeah, he's sad. He
Oh,
gets,
poor
oh,
baby.
why can't I have a woman with woman
Maybe he should
genitals?
have been a
Why?
better partner so that he knew more about his partner.
Okay, but what then? Does the woman have to like say it's a female every time?
No, they should probably split.
Okay, that makes him more upset though.
Shadow Wolf, I'm sorry. Like I got to wrap up this conversation at some point. And I can't bring you up to do another debate. You can come back tomorrow. I stream every single day. Um, Jesus Christ, it's 4 a.m. This conversation is so dumb. Like literally, I can't believe we retread the same ground over and over again. And
I
like
don't even get the whole
you
point
retread the
where it's
same
like my
ground when
responsibility
you want to go
even.
back over a point that you haven't disproven. Like you haven't brought up a good argument against a point, and then you want to go back to that point and go, but what about
Well,
that thing? And it's like we
but
already covered that,
you're
and you
just
haven't
not
brought up
getting
an
it.
argument
You're
against it,
not getting it fully. You're not getting it fully.
huh?
You're not getting it fully. But
I'm getting it
the
fully.
thing,
It's dumb, dude.
yeah, yeah, you think so? Yeah, I know. The thing though is, why
I can
should I
hold
even
three
care?
concepts in my mind at the same time. I can hold what
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
person is biologically. I can hold what they are socially, and then I can hold what they are in the separate social dimension of femininity and masculinity.
yeah. Those last two are just the same thing.
That they're
That's the
not.
issue.
You don't
Both
even
are.
agree they're the same thing. We've already been over
You're
that.
just sorting. You're just sorting like the same axiom into the important things and the lesser important things. That's all that you're doing.
Do you have a schema of what a woman is in your head?
Yeah,
Do you have a
female.
schema? No, I'm talking about a social schema.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, you do.
no. You could say I
Oh,
have a
oh, oh, oh,
schema.
oh, hold on. What do you have a social schema of what a man is in your head?
No.
Should a man wear a dress?
Should he? That's like a moral claim. No. Does he
Why?
cease to be a man if he does
Why?
so anyways?
No,
Because I
because you're
think
you're
it's
basing that on biology, but the thing is you think there is something about men that makes it different about them, that makes it so that there is a value judgment on whether or not they should wear a dress. You believe in what gender is. You have a schema of what a man is in your head. You have just proven it.
let's say it
And
like
it's
this.
different from
I
being masculine
believe
and feminine.
let's
You
say it like this.
just
Let's say
proved
it
it.
like this. Let's say it like this. I believe parents should take care of their kids. Does that now mean that if a parent stops taking care of their kids, they're not a parent? No, they're still a
No,
parent.
we've talked about now
There
you
you
have
go.
two different categories. No, you're making my point, dude. They are still
That's the same thing.
biologically a parent, but you also have a schema in your head about socially what the characteristics of a parent are or what they should be. You have a value judgment on those things
Yeah, okay, I have a
socioculturally.
value
You believe
judgment.
gender
Yeah.
exists.
That's a value judgment though. That's not like that's not an identity. That doesn't make you anything. It's just like what you should
Sure, it
be
is. If you
doing,
have
right?
a value judgment about what men should do and about which women should do, and you are one of those things, then culturally you are more in line with that one.
It's only a schema of a
Well,
woman.
schemas are hard. I didn't know schemas exist.
Whatever you call it, it's only like definitional to being a woman if you cease to be one, if you quit doing those things.
What?
It's only definitional to being a woman if you're not a woman, if you don't do
No,
those things.
see, now you're
Yes,
just wanting to redefine things because what you're saying is
that's how
what it is to
definition
be a
works.
man is to have the capacity to should do something.
No,
You
that's
defined
not what it
that.
is to be a man. That's
You
just what a man should do.
then why should women not have that same constraint?
That's just a moral claim. That's like an opinion I have. That's it.
Great. So you understand how a schema exists, how it
Like, bro,
works.
listen. I think a chair should be sturdy. That doesn't mean that if a chair isn't sturdy, it's less of a chair. That's not how it works. It's still as much a chair.
Right,
A
but you have
weak chair is as
expectations of
much a
what this
chair
thing
as
should be. I get it. I understand. I understand. Do you understand?
it's not what it should. It's like
There is
it
something
is,
about a
but it's not
man that makes
like
it so that they
oh
should do something. That's
yeah,
a
but
schema.
that's not what a man is. Right?
Whoa.
That's not the essence of a man, right? That's not the same thing. It's not like a chair
It
that's
is
not sturdy.
it is a cultural, it is a sociocultural aspect of what a man is. That's what you're saying. That is what you're saying. You're upset by
It's
it, but it is what
listen,
you're saying.
a weak chair should be strong, but it's as much a chair as a strong chair, right? A dumb kid should be smart, but he's as much a kid as the smart kid, right? It's not a definition. It's just like what I think those people should be doing, right?
It's a
Like
different kind of definition. It
I don't
absolutely
think
is.
that's no definition
You're saying a
implies
chair
that
is a thing that should be
here.
sturdy.
There we go. What is a definition? A definition is a statement of precise meaning of a word, phrase, or term. It explains what a specific term means using other words. So
Hmm.
it's not that it means when I say, for example, chair. It doesn't mean sturdy. It doesn't mean when I say a kid. That doesn't
You don't
mean he gets
understand that
straight.
you're saying there is something about a chair in its definition that means that it should be sturdy. It is part of its
No,
definition.
that's
That is
not in
what
the
you're saying.
definition. No, a definition is what it means when I say the word chair. When I say the word chair, it doesn't
Hmm.
mean
Hmm.
sturdy. It
I'm not
doesn't mean
saying it
sturdy at
means
all.
sturdy. I'm saying it
Well,
means
then it's not part of the definition.
no, no, no. I'm not saying that it's part of the definition that it is sturdy. I'm saying it's part of the definition that it should be sturdy. That is a
Yeah, well,
claim
what is the
you
definition
made.
about that? That
Huh?
doesn't say anything about the.
Sure, it
No, that's
does. It says a
no.
lot about the cultural aspects of a chair because you have expectations of what it should do.
A
That is part of
definition
its
is
definition
literally
to
just
you.
a definition is literally just like a list of the bare minimum things something has to have in order to be that certain thing, right? That's what a
Uh huh.
definition is.
Okay.
If something is optional, like a trait that can be there or cannot be there, it's already not part of the definition.
Okay.
So
And
like,
in your, as you described it, it is part of the definition of a chair that it has the expectation that it be sturdy.
has the expectation. That's not in the chair. That's in me, bro.
Yeah, that's part of the cultural aspects of the chair.
You could say that's part of the definition of me, I guess, that I expect the chair to be a
Whoa,
certain way.
shit. Is it part of your identity? Is that how that works?
Yeah, sure. My
You have a schema
expectation.
on what chairs are? Could we possibly have a schema on what men and women
No,
are? Whoa,
I
what the
don't have.
fuck?
No,
Oh, shit.
it's not about what a
Oh,
chair
fuck.
is. It's not about what the chair is. It's about what the chair should be like, right? How ought we make a chair? How should the factory fucking make the chair? That's it. It's just my opinion on the industry of chairs.
Oh,
It's not that
shit.
deep.
So it's inherent to you. And if
Yeah,
that were
not in
if
the
and
chair.
if it were a description of human beings, you might want to know which of these two groups you're part of. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, but those
Damn, did
shoes.
we just invent gender?
Yeah, but
Oh, fuck, dude.
that's inherently
My
linked
mind is
to
blown
sex.
right now.
That's inherently linked to sex. Like I have opinions on how
Yeah, it's
females should
inherently
be and
linked
how
to
male.
sex.
Yeah, so
Gender
if you
is
disconnect,
inherently linked to sex.
okay, there you go. Then you can't be a female man or a male female. There you go.
No, 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 no. It doesn't drive the result. It is linked to it.
Okay, when I say it's linked, I mean you have those expectations about males or about females, right?
No, they have them about men and women.
That's circular. I have them about people that have them. I have expectations because the people have the expectations.
What? No, me having expectations
You
because other
define
people have expectations isn't circular.
you define those groups based on having the specific expectations already. So I have an expectation because I have an expectation.
No, I
That
have an
doesn't make sense
expectation
at
because I
all.
live in society and society has taught me expectations. That's not
Yeah,
circular.
but according to you, society doesn't pick who they have an expectation for. It's literally just like
But they do teach people to have expectations. It is
for
because we are social
for
members of
sex.
society, we are a part of a social species that we have schema on other groups
Yeah,
of people.
they teach you to have those expectations for sex.
No, they
They don't
don't.
teach you.
They literally
Yes, they do.
don't. Because we don't
They
teach
do.
kids. Well, you see, this one over here, that one has an XY karyotyping, so that's how we know that they're a boy. That is not
No,
what we
we
teach
don't.
people.
When we talk about animals, we don't say. So they say like, look, this dog. He has this specific group of chromosomes that makes it a dog. That you don't say do that either. You just
Uh-huh.
say dog, and the
Right?
kid understands like what you're referring to, right?
Yeah, you're getting it. You're getting it. So we start to point out men, we start to point out women. The kids don't have the biology aspect of this. They definitely have the sociocultural aspect of it. So we develop these ideas of what men and women are before we have any idea about their biology.
Yeah, but why do you think you're saying it about the dog? Do you think you're saying that the dog ought to do A or B because it's a dog, or because it looks like a dog? Do you think when I say a dog ought to listen to the owner, that means that if as long as it looks like a dog, it should? Like a guy in a suit now applies that same rule because he looks like one, he fools me into thinking he is one? That's retarded. Like
What?
that's literally
No,
crazy.
I'm simply identifying a social group, and people are
You're
belonging
just
to those social groups.
you're trying to make a point out of separating like perception versus reality. That's what you're trying to do, right?
No, I
But
am
the point
defining
is,
two different things. One is based on
yeah, one is
biology, one
perception,
is
one is
based on
reality, right?
sociology. What?
Yeah, okay, exactly. Yeah, perception and reality. Yeah, I think it's a dog,
Except
or it
identity
is
is
a dog.
reality, dude. And
I
identity is
wouldn't
a
say
real
that.
thing that a person has. Surprise.
When
You
when
proved to
you
me just a
say
minute ago that
identity,
you have a schema on what men are. You have that.
no,
You do. You
you
proved
keep
it.
saying, listen, you
You
keep
hate it
saying what
so
men
much, but
are.
you did prove it.
You keep saying what men are. It's not about what they are. It's about what they should be, right? It's a moral statement. It's not a
It's not a
statement of
moral
identity.
statement. It's not a value
It
judgment.
is.
No.
Because I think it's yeah, it is. I think it's low value for them to dress like women. That's it. I think that's a
Well, sure,
negative
that's a
thing to
value
do.
statement.
Yeah, okay, that's why they should not dress like women. There you go.
Okay, but like you don't have a rational basis for that. It's just your fifis.
Yeah, you also don't have a rational basis for why I shouldn't fucking nuke the Earth. It's just because your
Yeah,
feelings
I
say you
do.
don't want that. Why?
Because I'm a member of a species that has the capacity to suffer, and I'm aware of the species'
Why don't you
capacity for
want to suffer?
suffering, and I'm aware of what other the suffering of other members of my species is like, and so I don't wish to
Yeah,
suffer
why
that, and I
don't you
don't.
want that?
Why don't I want that? Because suffering is inherently bad by its definition.
And that's not a definition. It's literally just you don't like it. That's it. You
No,
don't like how
that's
it
what
feels.
suffering is. That's the definition of suffering. It's a bad thing.
A bad what? A bad?
A bad thing? It's a bad thing
A
to
bad
experience.
feeling. A bad
Suffering is a
feeling.
bad
Yeah.
experience.
Okay. A bad feeling. In other words. Yeah. You don't like it. That's it.
That
That's the
doesn't
same
make
with
it
me.
not
I
rational.
don't like when men are in dresses. Yeah. Okay, then it's rational because I don't like it. There you go.
But that's not rational.
So it's rational for you to say you don't like being stabbed, but it's not rational for me to say I don't
Hey, do
like
you like
men fucking
suffering?
acting like women. No.
I don't like suffering. Good. We agree on the rationality of making judgments based on suffering.
Yeah, I suffer watching men dress like women.
Not as much as men being denied being, as males being denied being women when they're women.
How do I say this? If you have like 1% of society versus 99% of society,
Mm-hmm.
let's say you were right, yeah, and the
Yeah.
0 point whatever percent of society does feel
Yeah.
worse, they can like suck it, right? Because the rest of society doesn't like
Because your
that, right?
inconvenience doesn't amount to suffering.
It's like this, let's say you had a whole city of people versus one guy. Either the whole city every year has to walk over hot coals, or one guy has to do it 12 times a year, once every month. They're gonna pick the one guy that's gonna do it 12 times every month instead of the whole village that's gonna do it once every year, right?
The fuck? What?
Okay, you have to pick either a single guy has to walk over hot coals every month, or a whole village has to do it once a year together. The whole village is gonna say, fuck that one guy, right?
Sorry, they have to do it how often and he has to do it how often?
He once a month, they once a year. He has to do it 12 times more often.
Then I think the most rational thing would be for them to do it every year and then him to do it every 12 years
Nah, you have to pick one of the two.
permanently.
Yeah, permanently.
Despite how off topic this is, I am intrigued, so I'm going to think this through.
You'll realize how it's on topic. You'll realize. I'll explain to
Well,
you,
what
yeah?
what what happens if they don't?
If they don't what?
If they don't walk across the coals?
No, they can't. They just have to, bro. That's just part of
Like
the
like
scenario.
I would like bolt his limbs to poles and then force him to.
Yeah, whatever, yeah. He'll magically start walking on the coals, whatever.
Now I'm stuck in like Claire Obscure in my head
Yeah, I'll tell you how it relates, yeah?
because Claire
You were
Obscure
saying there was
proposes
one
a really interesting
transgender.
moral question.
Yeah, you're saying the one transgender suffers with the gender dysphoria versus the rest of
I didn't
society
say that
having,
because I don't claim that all transgender people have gender dysphoria.
okay, I'm saying a part of society does, yeah? And a bigger part of society doesn't have that big burden, but they have the small burden of dealing with that guy, yeah?
Yeah,
M-
it's a
Maybe the
laughable
rest of
burden.
society that doesn't just take that because they're in the majority, right? Just like the guy with the calls.
I mean, if you had
His
one
burden.
guy, it might matter, but problem is that this has been proven to be a consistent thing.
Yeah, yeah. Percentage wise, it's one guy per village of people. Yeah, that's the point.
Well, I think it becomes different when it's a whole demographic of people rather than just one guy.
Well, it's one guy per village. Yeah, the choice you're making is like it gets repeated. Yeah, so if you pick the one guy, then it's one guy in Spain with his village and one guy in Japan with his village. Whatever. Yeah,
Okay.
like yeah.
But it's also not a guy at random. It is people and across all these different groups that have something in common with each other.
I don't know why that matters. Sure, sure, bro. They have the curse of the one guy with the calls. Yeah, there you go.
So we're saying that trans people are cursed, and because other people are just inconvenienced, then they should have a higher risk of dying.
Well, it's your decision. What do you pick? The village goes with the call every year, or the guy goes 12 times a year?
So it's more like people have to smell something that they don't like once a year, or this person has to walk on coals.
I
I
wouldn't say it's. I would say it's more of an inconvenience in this case than that.
It
It's
is
like a
not.
whole societal, like there's a whole political and societal war on this
Oh,
topic. There's
really
like a
they
whole,
feel really strongly about the smell.
yeah, whatever. There's a
They think it's
whole
profane to God.
political,
The
yeah,
smell is
yeah, sure.
profane to God.
There's a whole political uprising. People don't agree with it. They don't believe in
Damn,
it,
it'd be
but
great if there didn't have to be a whole political uprising.
yeah, in this case, you're just gonna say like the village should go fuck themselves because I disagree with them, right? But that's not the point, right?
Because their
You're
harm
picking.
is a joke.
Well, you can say that, but it's causing issues in society. Yeah,
Yeah, because a bunch of people are butthurt about nothing.
yeah, that's
They can grow
your
up.
view.
They can
Doesn't
grow
matter
up.
what you think. That's not gonna happen.
They
There's
can
an
grow
issue.
up.
Well, they won't.
So my choices are tell one group y'all can grow up or tell the other group y'all can die.
No, either
Yeah.
there's gonna be
Yeah.
societal. Well, you're gonna say grow up, and they're not gonna grow up, and it's gonna keep going, yeah.
Or they could just
Or
fucking grow up.
the guy can walk on the coals, yeah.
Die.
Or they can walk on the coals once a year.
So y'all can
That's the
grow
choice.
up or they can die.
Yeah, that's a bit a bit extreme.
Accurate? Yeah, it's a bit
It's
accurate,
not
isn't
like
it? You just don't like
it's
that
not
it's
like
accurate. That is accurate.
it's they're killing themselves, bro. It's not like we're
No,
stabbing
they're
them or
not
something.
killing themselves. They're dying from something that is statistically proven to happen to people.
That's like saying when they have depression, they don't kill themselves, they die of depression. That's stupid.
If you can point to a determining factor, then yeah,
Yeah, but they do it with their own hands, man. That's
you
they
are
make it
killing
as a
them. You are killing these people. If you weren't doing it, they wouldn't die.
If
Amazing.
I tell you to jump off a bridge, and there's like a statistical likelihood that if I tell you to jump off the bridge, you're more likely to do it. Did I push you off the bridge, or did you do it?
If you statistically know that 99% of human beings will jump off a bridge if you tell them to jump off the bridge, then if you tell them to jump off the bridge, yeah, you are culpable for that action.
That's stupid. But it isn't even 99%, bro. That's a
I'm
bit
not saying it
exaggerated.
is. I am pointing out to you the logic.
What percentage do you think it is that will kill themselves?
Oh, let's not guess. Hmm. Okay, suicidal ideation is 10 to 15%, which is like 3.5 to 5 times higher than the normal population.
Oh, so that's not that much, bro. It's not
That's
99%.
huge.
It's like an increase. It's not 99, bro.
I wasn't claiming it was 99.
Okay, what do you think it is? Percentage wise? Because this is relative to the average, right? The average is
18,
probably
18 to 45% of transgender adults and youth have attempted suicide in their lifetime, which is drastically higher than the 4.6 of the general population.
that's a big window. Why is it so big? 18 to 45.
I I don't know. That would have to do with the research
Yeah,
methodology.
that sounds like a shit methodology if
Let's
it's
just say
so.
it's 18%.
Okay. So if
So it's
18%
four
of
times
people,
higher. It's 4 times higher than the
yeah,
general population.
if 18% of people would jump off the bridge if I tell them to, did I push them off the bridge by telling them to jump, or did they do it themselves by jumping off the
I didn't
fucking
say you
bridge?
push them off. I said you would be culpable.
Well, you said in this scenario, like they didn't kill themselves. The disease killed them, is what you said, right? Like,
I said you killed them.
no, no,
I
with
think
the,
you
with
are
the transgender
culpable.
stuff, you said that killed them, not themselves.
Right, and that what that is you. You are
So
culpable for
I
killing
killed
these
them.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, but you literally said that the disease killed them. That's what you said.
No, not the disease.
But
They don't have
okay,
a
bro.
disease. They don't have a disease. They
Okay,
don't even have a disorder.
okay, bro.
You are killing these people. You are the disease
You know,
because
it,
it's
it does very
inconvenient to
much
you. They
sound.
should die.
Yeah, it does very much sound like you have this atypical thing that causes problems in society. That sounds like a disease, but okay.
Well, then you don't know what diseases are. You just hate science.
Okay, disorder then. Fine, disorder.
Yeah, it's also not a disorder. You just don't like science.
Yeah, this is this emotional mix with like objectivity that you're doing. Like you don't like the
Yeah.
facts because I say
Once
it's the
once
facts.
once
That's it.
once I one yeah when I can prove something, I will prove it. There's the fact, and then I can make a value judgment about that, and you can disagree with me on
Okay,
that value judgment, and I
why
can't
is
prove
it
to you that
less of
my
a
value
disorder?
judgment is correct and that yours is incorrect. But I will
Why is
certainly
it
tell you what my value judgment is, and
why
that's
is
that
it less of a
you are
disorder
killing
than
these people
depression?
and you are a disease.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Why is it less of a disorder than depression?
Because being transgender on its own does not disrupt a person's life. A person can be perfectly happy being transgender.
But they have statistical likelihoods of offering themselves.
Sure, they do, and that is a comorbidity with being transgender. You don't have
Yeah,
to
not
be
all
that
the
way
depressed
when you are
people.
transgender.
Yeah, not all the depressed people kill themselves.
Okay?
So it doesn't
But
have to cause.
being depressed is itself a disorder. You don't have to kill yourself for it to be a disorder,
Why?
Tim.
Why is it in itself a disorder?
Because depression interferes with your capacity to fulfill your day-to-day duties in a normal way.
Well, what if it doesn't? What if they do just
Then you
fine?
don't
They
have
they do.
depression, dude.
Well, no, they're still very sad and depressed.
That's not what depression is, Tim.
What is it then?
God damn it. Do I have to teach you everything in
Just
science?
being like lazy. Being lazy is depression. You don't do your chores. That's
DSM
depression.
5, depression,
Yeah, it's then
major
when you're
depressive
sad, bro. That's what
disorder.
it is. Yeah, very depressed, very sad.
Depression is more than feeling blue. People with depression, can I get the actual definition, please?
Yeah. Okay. Serious mood disorder causing persistent sadness, loss of interest, and affecting how you think, feel, and handle daily activities going beyond normal
Oh,
sadness or bad moods.
fuck!
Yeah. So
Right again?
Okay.
God damn it.
What do you
I'm
call it
ruining
if
my
they?
brand. I'm ruining my brand. Fuck.
Okay. What do you call it if they do their activities fine? They force themselves to just do their chores, but they feel like shit. They have dopamine receptor issues,
Then it is
because
interfering with
that's
their
what it is,
ability
bro.
to handle their day-to-day activities. If they are
No, they're doing
struggling
fine.
to, no, you're saying they're doing it, but they're struggling to do it. That is still interfering with it.
No, no, they're not struggling to do it. They just feel shit.
Then they don't have depression.
But they have issues with their dopamine receptors.
Not enough for it to be a disorder.
Well, I don't think that's how it works. I don't think
That's
there's like
literally
a
how it works, dude. I hate to break it to you. This is
there's
how
not like
clinical
a
studies work.
there's not like a limit where if your dopamine receptors get fucked to a certain extent that now suddenly you lose self-control. You can just do it anyways. Like you can just do your chores anyways, even though you feel like shit. That's how it works.
Tim, the psychiatrist.
Yeah, you have free will. Your free will doesn't leave your body when you feel like shit. That's
Tim, the
how it works.
clinical researcher. Tim, the scientist. Always a fan of science.
You don't have to be a scientist to know free will exists. That's not. Yeah.
I mean, that free will exists is not itself a scientific concept.
Well, it is real.
No, really, Severus Snape is an unmitigated asshole. He's also a great potion master. Okay, well, we're going to allow these comments, Shadow Wolf. You can be upset about Severus Snape. Can't Tim just read a book?
Yeah, who's saying
It
this?
would save
Let's
me some
see.
time.
As
Tim,
a
do you ever get tired
student,
of being wrong?
yeah, I don't think I was wrong on anything so far.
You've been proven wrong multiple times in this conversation.
On what? What are you on about?
Literally on depression just now.
No, man. Like, there's people that do fine, that have it, and they just
They,
go
they
along with
don't
their
have
day.
depression, dude.
No,
You
that's
read the
bullshit, man.
definition. You read it out loud. It has to interfere with your daily capacity to handle day-to-day tasks.
Yeah, that's some stupid AI generated fucking Google search AI.
That's
I don't
DSM,
believe in it.
homie. That's how it is. It's how it's defined.
No, what I read was some fucking help yourself website, AI result. That's what it was.
Shadow
But
Wolf,
I'm
I hope
pretty
that was a
sure.
good point about me calling out Tim and still respecting his right to his opinions. Yeah,
I'm
you know,
pretty
the crazy
sure.
thing about the left versus the right is the right wants to like get down to the value judgments and then enforce them, and I want to get down to value judgments and just say you can just be a piece of shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do want to enforce your value judgments and stuff.
How am I doing that?
Well, you want certain things in school, right, with kids.
That's
You want
not
them
making
to.
you do anything.
Yeah, you're making my kids do something.
Uh, Actually, I would assume the default in this situation would be to treat all people the same, and that you wanting to exclude certain people from those studies would be the special treatment.
What studies? What are you on about? It's a
So, social
classroom, bro.
studies, studying different groups of people.
Yeah, I don't want my kids to be a subject of social studies, bro.
Yeah, so
I
you're
just
being
want
the
them to
weird
go to
one.
school. What do you mean? Is this some weird shit in American schools where they have like mandatory you have to be in studies? Like,
Social studies. That is a class about sociology, about history, about geography.
yeah, we don't have that. We don't have that.
Oh, that's disappointing.
We just have history and geography.
You teach no sociology. Do
No,
you teach about the like? Do you teach about major religions in the world, like what exists where, how they spread, how they impacted history?
no.
Why? That's helpful
Yeah,
knowledge
that's school is like education for your job.
and society.
No, no, not really.
Yeah.
Maybe in America you fucking have like societal programming in
Well,
school.
that's how we
I
end up
don't
with
want
pieces
that.
of shit as members of society. If you don't teach people not to be pieces of shit, then they're going to end up being pieces of shit.
Do you think there's more
If you're
people
going to
you
have a
dislike in your
pluralistic
country than
society,
mine?
if you aim to have a pluralistic society, you have to teach children the value of a pluralistic society.
Do you think there's more people you dislike in my country than in yours?
I have no idea.
I think not. I think your own country has all the Trump people that you don't like. I think that's the
You
case.
think I don't like Trump people?
Yeah, of course.
No, I actually am on good relations with some Trump people. Dude, I have a regular Nazi in my chat, and I have a regular ultra nationalist in my chat, and we have much more pleasant conversations than this because it's not banging my fucking head against a wall with you just retreading the same points
I'm
over and
pretty
over again
sure
because
this
you
is
think
like
repeating them
the
makes them better.
I think this is like the ultra leftist everything is a Nazi stuff, right? Like
No,
there's
no,
no
dude, the
way
dude defines himself as a Nazi. The other
like
guy defines himself as an ultra nationalist. Another point you're
really
wrong on,
really.
Tim.
Yeah, I don't know him. I just it seems a
Another
bit
point you're wrong on,
exaggerated.
Tim. Let's make assumptions about Know Nothing Attorney again.
Yeah, what do you have against assumptions? This is another like American
I
leftist
don't
thing.
have
That
anything
it's
wrong
like
with assumptions. You
assumptions are
just
like the
you just
devil to
earlier
you.
said that you weren't proven wrong on anything. You just keep
Yeah,
being wrong.
it's not
Being
like we
wrong is
debated
okay.
this.
You just gotta own it, dude. Just own
It's
not
just
knowing
an
shit.
assumption, bro. It's not that deep.
It's just an assumption.
Yeah, you're here like, oh, I won, oh my god, I won. He made an assumption that's wrong. Oh no, I won.
You're missing the
Oh my
point. That's
god,
not the
like
point I was
chill.
making.
What was the point then?
The
Like,
point I was making is I was asking if you are ever okay with being wrong, and then you said that you have never been wrong this entire time, and I just pointed
yeah,
out that you were just wrong again.
yeah. It's not
It's
like we
okay to be
debated
wrong.
anything.
Just
It's
fucking
an
own
assumption.
being wrong.
Yeah, yeah, that's what you're saying though. I think you're wrong. It's not like you're gonna now own being wrong because
Yeah, but
I
you
tell you
can't
that you're wrong.
demonstrate shit, dude. You haven't
You can't
demonstrated shit this
demonstrate
entire
shit
time.
either.
Yeah, I can. That's why you keep retreading the same points, and you
When I
haven't been
try to
able to
explain it to
demonstrate
you, you
anything.
just like drool and move on. That's it.
I drool and move on. Is that what other
Yeah.
people will see when they review this video? Is me
I mean, I'm
address
gonna
every
guess
point
that
you
the
bring
people
up
that
and then you
watch
just
your
go back and
video
say it
and
again?
I think the people that watch your content are probably more on board with you than some random guy that joined your your fucking Discord.
Man, some of my first regulars, one was a self-defined Nazi, and another was an ultranationalist. I don't know if they would agree with you.
I don't know how serious to take that. I don't know.
Well, hey,
Like
Maddie's not here. Maddie went to bed. Maddie's not torturing herself.
like he's an Aryan supremacist anti-Semite. That's what he is.
That's what the Nazi said.
He said it himself. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Specifically that, or are you just making that up? Like,
He he didn't say the thing about Aryans.
okay,
Well, no, he may
ask
have.
him. Ask
He
him.
may have
Ask
said
him.
that. I think he has
Ask
said
him
that.
one day. Holy shit, bro.
All right, dude. Any last words? I gotta fucking wrap this up.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, can you tell me yet how behaviors of a woman are different from femininity yet?
How behaviors of a woman?
Yeah.
Yeah, but belonging to a class of women.
Yeah, it's not a real thing though. It's a word. The class only exists
Sorry,
because
you
you're
already
using the word.
demonstrated that you know what a schema is and that you have one. Sorry.
Yeah, so that isn't like a definition. That's just like an opinion on like how things ought to
Well,
be.
see,
Me saying a table should be strong isn't the same thing as being strong makes you a table. That's
that's
a
not what I'm
reach.
saying.
You literally are. You're saying that with the transgender stuff, that being feminine makes you a woman. That's what you're saying. That it's the same thing as
Nope.
saying because my schema says that the table should be strong. That means that if I become strong, I can become a table. It's the same thing
Nope.
with the woman. I
Wow,
say a
you are
woman should
really
wear a
like
dress.
conceptually illiterate, huh?
That's literally you agreed on it. You
Man,
literally agreed
you
that
you like
femininity.
literally cannot strongman my
You
position.
already agreed on
You
it.
can't steel
You
man
lit-
my position?
yeah, can you
Damn.
just let me speak for 5 seconds and you'll see how you're wrong? Yeah.
Yeah, go for
So
it. You can try one more time.
Bro, if people are watching, just go back, man. You can see that I talked to this guy about like the femininity stuff, and he said, yes, yes, Tim. Basically, the only difference between the gender stuff and femininity is that the gender stuff is like heavy core things that you care about, that you think really make you a woman, in comparison to the femininity that's just like minor, unimportant bullshit. That's
Hmm.
all you said. It's still femininity.
No, you're
Just
missing
like
the last important part
I
of
care
that.
a lot about this. Yeah, you didn't say anything else, really.
No, I did.
Okay, say it then.
Uh, you're missing the part where the
Oh,
things that
let me
you
guess. Let me guess. It's a social category. That's what you're gonna say.
yeah, you missed you so you do know it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
do know it. You're just
That
approaching it
social
dishonestly
category
every
isn't
time.
independent from this. This is like the social category is like calling you a word based on this shit that makes the category. You understand? The
Except
social
that's
category
not
of chair
true.
isn't separate
You
from like
already
what makes
proved that
something a
that's
chair.
not true. You proved it yourself.
What do you mean?
Oh, let's see if I need to go back to the category, the example of the men wearing dresses.
Yeah, the
Um,
man wearing a dress is still a man.
right, but a
He
man
doesn't
is a
go in the
person who should
social
not wear a
category
dress.
of, yeah.
Okay, so that's a cultural aspect. That's part of your
Okay,
schema on what a
a
man is.
person. People shouldn't die. Does that now mean that a corpse isn't a person? Like what the fuck?
What?
Dead people don't exist because people should live. That's
Dude,
what you're
you keep
saying.
jumping to like the conclusion of the thing. I'm not saying anything about the man wearing a dress.
You're
I'm
saying
talking
its
about the
definition.
man, whether or not the man should wear a dress. That's what you're categorizing.
Yeah, but you're implying that that means that's what makes him a man.
All right, fuck this. I can't do this shit anymore. All right, so that was Tim. I gotta go to fucking bed because that was exhausting. Whew.